Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. Down Fair Tire Studios. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And there's a community there of people. Sometimes hundreds big. Watching, and then subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 617-779-0985. A beautiful day in the works today. The sun will rise at 7:05. It will set at 4:10.
Well,
and we won't see either of those things.
No, I don't know that we'll see the sun anytime soon. You know, close to that sunrise time, and it'll probably be gone long before that 4:00 sunset.
Because my dog, I look at the weather every morning to monitor like what the situation's going to be with him.
Yeah,
because he's a lot. And today the situation is it's going to rain. It's raining now, and it will be raining when you go to bed tonight.
So you still walk the dog, obviously, even though it's raining.
Yes, and then I can take him to my ex-wife's house because my son's got a basketball game far away, very far away. This afternoon at 2:15.
How far?
70 miles, 65 miles.
In a different state or the same state?
The same state.
Same state.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but
Going to Springfield?
Probably one day if he keeps this up, he'll be enshrined.
What town do you have to go to that's 60 miles away?
I don't know the exact. I know the school name, but I don't feel like giving it out.
Fair
enough. It's the first time he's played for this school, and I've never seen it. And his sister wants to go, and his sister gets out early today. The game's at 2:15, which is a positive.
Yeah, half day for my kids too.
Yeah, and so all his games are like at 2:15 or 3:00 because they have to get kids back to like school. The kids that live at the school have to go back. They have to be back by 6:00, so it's kind of great. So,
Go to one of those towns that you hear every once in a while, but you don't know where they are. He lives in North Brookfield.
Northampton.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, like this is where our
is
station's going to start getting like, if I'm listening to the station, it's going to start getting a little.
Start breaking up.
Like if you go to Newport, like, and it's like. But Erin O'Malley from Mix, who's a wonderful person.
Love Erin.
Yeah, everyone does. She used to commute from Newport to Brighton. She used to leave at like 4:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
She had a gym membership in Brighton, like an hour from her house, like an hour 15 minutes from her house. She had like a whole like situation set up, like a gym to like shower and work out in, like the restaurant. Everything was. She had this separate life in Brighton because she couldn't. It was of no use to her to do those things in Newport because she was never there.
Well, frickin' Louth still drives up from Warwick or wherever he lives.
He lives next to TF Green Airport.
Yeah, does anyone... Yeah. I've asked him several times why, and he's never answered me. He's just never answered me.
He's just such a huge Providence College fan, and he wants to be as close to the campus as possible.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're walking around with those letters on your front of your shirt. You're a big shot.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're going to be like telling me you went to Rhode Island for graduate school.
Yeah, but there are people, I'm sure you've known people over the years who've lived like New Hampshire. They just prefer that living and that tax situation and everything. They make the drive down to Boston every day. And I bet there's even more people now because, during COVID, a lot of people moved even further out. Like, what the hell? Why not?
Yeah, but those are people that don't have to come into work.
Yeah. Aaron still has to go in every day. Jim's here a lot.
Jim's here almost every day.
Yeah.
So Jim's making that commute.
Yes. And and more to the point, he did it every day while he was producing the midday show. I mean, for years and years, first one in, last one to leave every day on that show.
So I've asked him. It's funny, he won't tell me. Like because I don't talk to him all that often, and when I do, I'll go like, you always ask him about the drive, and then if I'm in the room, I'll go, why do you live there? And he'll just go, anyway. There's no explanation of why haven't you moved? And if it's the tax situation, I'd say, what is money for? Then what is money for? It's saving you money to do what? Money should be so you don't have to drive an hour and a half each way every day.
How much do you think Louth spends on gas each week?
I mean, it's terrible for the environment, Adam.
It's gas at $3 a gallon.
He may have switched to an EV. So.
Oh, that could be.
Well, that makes it a little bit redder, right,
There
Adam?
you go, Jim Louth. That's right.
He should be taking the train.
Good.
He could.
They opened a whole bunch.
To
I got a buddy
Waltham?
who lives down in Rhode Island. They opened up a whole bunch of new train stations down there in anticipation of people like moving there and commuting up to Boston. And
How
apparently
far
it hasn't
south?
happened.
You still have to drive up to Providence to take it, though, correct?
No, there's like I think Warwick had there's like train stations throughout Rhode Island. that
Commuter
can
rail?
get you up
I had
here.
a friend that
Yeah.
bought a house in Providence and worked in the financial district and would take the train from Providence to the financial district, and it wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem that big a deal.
No, you
No,
should probably get
driving
work
don't-
done
yeah.
depending on what you do, right?
Yeah, like it's a passive thing. You get on the train, you know, in the rare occasion it doesn't go, whatever, but you're in Boston, you're in Providence, right? Like if you're stuck in Boston, you're stuck in Boston, big deal. You're stuck in Providence, you're stuck at home.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. You can get on the train and shut your brain off, and then it takes you where you got to go. You walk out of the station, you walk into work, and there you are. The problem with driving is that it's your responsibility. So when it's an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours,
And the stress levels go through the roof.
that's 2 hours of
Yeah.
like having to pay attention, getting on the freeway with these dumbasses that go like 90 in the right lane when you're trying to merge on and it's pitch black.
Dude, you've got a short commute now, but you've seen it because you've been doing mornings forever. There are two types of drivers at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. They're going 50 or they're going 110.
Wow.
And if you are, one of these people in the middle like we are, you're the exception. Everyone else is driving really slow because they're afraid to drive, and that's why they're out driving that early so they can avoid cars, or they're up to something, or they're going 110 because they don't know how to drive and they're up to something.
Yeah.
Well, the worst thing was quitting drinking and then realizing how rampant drunk driving is because I didn't really drink and drive. That was like I was a real hero. I was paranoid about it. Like I really didn't do it that much. Very rarely, and despite the fact that I was an alcoholic, but then the people that I'm finding out are driving blacked out drunk on a regular basis, and so now I have two things: sympathy. Now, sympathy is if someone is going like the speed limit or a little lower in one of the right lanes. I think they're older drunk. Then I go, okay, like all right, like I get it. Like we're okay. You good for you. Like live. Hopefully things get better. Then there is the people that go super fast and left, and to that I say, hey, you move or shake your headline maker. You bought the car. Have some fun.
You're running something from Providence up to Manchester.
Whatever the
a
reason.
trunk full of something. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I don't get in the far left lane because I don't want to play your game. But that's up to you, baby. That should be free shot. You got it. But then. The thing that I think is the only dangerous thing, and George Carlin does the joke that everyone's either driving too fast or too slow. You're the only person who's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But you stay in the right lane on a freeway like 95 where there's an exit every mile, and you go 70 miles an hour in the right lane, and there's 15 cars in a line merging onto the road, and then you expect everyone in the dark with a curve to like be able to go like, oh yeah, okay, this guy's going 70. You're giving someone, this is where speed comes into play. You're giving the guy getting onto the freeway a half a second to know that you're coming.
Yep.
See, if you're going 55 or 60 in that lane, at least you're giving someone like a second and a half. If you're going like 70 in that lane, there's no seeing you. And if you're going 70 in that lane, you can't do anything. Like even if you see the person, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like you're just doubling down like that. The person coming out is seeing you, and that's not going to help you. Like, how does that make you the hero?
So you see the people who drive every day, the truck drivers, they kind of live in that second lane over from the right.
Yes.
Because they know people are merging, they're getting on, they're getting off, and I'm like, I'm going to camp out right here and, go my speed, and you see my truck, and that way you can get on and you can get off, but otherwise they're not risking everyone else.
Sail on the concrete seas.
Usually you're right.
Eastbound and down.
Usually you're right, but this morning, and that's why it stood out to me, because usually truck drivers are very cautious, but this morning, not the case.
Well, not the way you drive. Nobody's safe.
No.
John's very aggressive.
The truck was in the left-hand lane.
I bet okay, when I get a time machine, and I will get one, I will go back in time this morning and go back and see what happened. I guarantee you were at fault because you drive like a frickin' maniac.
Not true.
You do.
Not true.
Oh, up everybody's ass. Just
Everybody.
Yes.
I see.
What?
Tailgating,
Okay.
hard braking, all of it. You're a menace, unsafe at any speed.
And you've seen me drive how many times?
Yes,
How many times have you seen?
several.
Several. I see.
Where were you doing that? Where were you up, everyone? Huh?
Fred, I do have to tell you something that happened yesterday. I thought of you immediately.
Thank you.
At my pickleball clinic yesterday.
Oh, how'd that
that's
go?
right,
You
you went
learned
to
the
a
game?
pickleball
You all
clinic.
set to go?
There's a lot to it.
How much can there be?
The scoring and the actual like how you play the game in terms of who's serving.
I mean, you run up to the net and hit short shots at each other for about 10 minutes?
I think he's
No.
saying the structure of the game.
Oh,
not
structure
so
of the
much as
game,
the
who
once
serves.
the ball's in play.
My fault.
Yeah, like
Yes.
not so much. Yeah,
Once
it's-
the ball's in play, it's a fairly easy affair.
stay out of the kitchen. You can't play. You can't volleyballs that are in the kitchen on the other side of the net. But otherwise, the actual start of the game between the serve, the return, and then the actual switching of the serve, which isn't like tennis. It's different when you're playing doubles, and you pretty much have to play doubles if you're playing pickleball these days because so many people want to play. Of
course.
So you're gonna be playing, doubles.
Selfish if you play singles.
But there are 3 of us in the class, right?
Yeah, it's
The guy-
popular.
The guy, well, there's only look. They limit it so everybody, gets, some individualized instruction.
And the
Okay.
guy who's teaching has been playing, 6 months?
It's Pickleball Pro says right there on his name tag.
When I was in Florida 2 years ago, there was a pickleball pro, which I found interesting.
Which I
Is there a tour?
And I
Is
like
there a
that-
pickleball tour?
There is, and they played in the gym in the locker room.
Oh.
There's a station that
They're
is a
put-
pickleball station.
and they are slaying. They're pulling so much strange. These pickleball pros out on the road.
My goodness.
And they can't get anyone pregnant.
On a steel horse he rides.
Yeah,
Yep.
because they're way past that.
Yeah. So it's Pickleball Pro. It's me. It is a woman who you would have loved, Fred. She was a delight. She's probably, let's say, 10 years older than me. Now, Pickleball Pro doesn't necessarily want to be there because A, he's Pickleball Pro, and B, he's teaching a couple of, 50-something-year-olds and one 60-year-old. So he just starts the clinic. He goes right in. He's like, right now, what is without saying hello, my name is, anything else, what's your name, but he just starts. All right, what's the name of the place where I'm standing right now? This is the area, And he's going for a couple of minutes, and he's just diving right in. We get an hour. He's going to give us the lowdown. He's going to teach us serving techniques. We're going to do position. We're going to scrimmage. We're going to do it all in an hour. I can tell this guy is good. I'm like, good. I like doing things. This is
Right.
good. She interrupts him within 2 minutes. Are you having a bad day? I'm like, oh, Jesus. Please don't do this, lady. The guy's like, what? You just seem like you're having a bad day. Yeah, he's teaching pickleball to you and to this guy and to this guy. So, of course, he's having a bad day.
What a
He doesn't-
passive-aggressive way to go, you're being an a-hole. Like, what a terrible,
So that's-
terrible passive-aggressive thing to do.
So that's the first thing I thought of. But she was actually a delight.
No, she wasn't.
You wouldn't have liked her. I did.
Well,
The
I would have respected her more if she went, hey, a-hole, calm down. Like make with the pleasantries.
But the guy
Then are you having a bad day? Like, imagine that as a mom following you around as in high school. I'm just worried that you're eating too much. I mean, that's it. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
Get up on the wrong side of the bed?
Right. Yeah, like oh, your girlfriend certainly likes to eat.
But the guy who I ended up partnering with, Fred, he was the good tennis playing version of Milos. Same accent, kind of same everything about him. He even said, I play tennis, but they keep taking tennis courts away, so I figure if you cannot beat them, maybe I'd be joining them. And that is why he was taking the pickleball class.
Yeah.
Every time he scored a point, I expected him to just another game for Milos.
Hey, look at this fool I'm playing against.
But that dude could play. You could tell. I mean, just vascular. He had the forearm.
Ropey.
Yeah, yes, he had the top spin thing going, but he was frustrated. This ball, it don't do nothing. Like, yeah, that's kind of the point. There's not a lot of action on this pickleball.
Can't hit it as hard as you want. It really doesn't go anywhere.
That's why people like me and her over there are out here, playing the game because, you're kind of past our prime here. We should go through a disc if you want to see me really in my element. But, I didn't want to get into it with him.
No, and then you're asking him for a whole other skill set. It's not fair.
But between Are You Having a Bad Day and Milos, you would have loved it. You would have absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I figured if you could not beat, why not?
Why not be joining?
Oh, look, it seems like you two have already started. Don't mind me, I'd get behind one of you. All right, very good. The Bruins played last night, and it was a fair as wild as the city they were in. And we will have that for you in just a moment.
More. catch a game last night.
Hey, we're Dutcher and Hardy. Hardy, what happened last evening?
God bless Ryan Beaton, one of our esteemed producers here, for taking the time and going through the effort of putting together, let's just call it a montage. A montage of suck last night that happened in Winnipeg as the Bruins started their Western road trip. And in 30 seconds, we can pretty much tell you what happened.
Fires, rebound, score. 1-0 lead for Winnipeg. Jets get it right back, and a chance in front for Scheifele. They score. 2-0 Winnipeg. Morrissey sends one across, a one-timer. They score. And it's 3-0. Centering pass for Connor scores. 4-1. Velarde shoots and scores. 5-1. One-timer, score. 6-1. Appleton throws it to the net, and it squeaks in far post against Swayman. 7-1. Giveaway, shot, score. It's 8-1.
Swayman in net for all of them.
Yeah, I saw the box score today because I didn't obviously watch the third period last night.
No, I gave it up too.
And, and I was like, I when I saw the score, I looked at the box score and I went, wow.
Yeah.
Because remember, people gave Montgomery crap earlier this season for not pulling Swayman from a game.
And last night, he was out there, and he stayed out there.
Yeah, how much of that, I mean, 8 goals is the goalie's fault, but how much of that was his fault from what you guys saw, if you know, because I don't know.
I saw the first 4. I think 2 of them were on him. I mean, there were times, especially when Winnipeg was on the power play, and you heard Ryan call it one-timer. That means the guy's alone on the other side of Swayman. I mean, the defense wasn't good.
I mean, I watched through the second period like you guys, so I didn't see any that I would necessarily hang on Swayman. There was one that he seemed to really react poorly to that he felt, I think he felt bad about. It was right after the 4-on-4, but it was only 4-on-4 for a few seconds.
Yeah.
And then Winnipeg.
Pasternak took a bad penalty in the corner. Yeah.
Well, that was a penalty that should not have been called. The high stick, that was not a high stick on Pasternak. His stick got lifted. But
the guy hit himself in the face with his own stick.
with his own stick. So that was stupid. And maybe the reaction was as much to that, but it was right after Winnipeg went back to full strength, and it was a 5-on-4 for about 5 seconds, and they gave up a goal. And Swayman seemed his body language like maybe he thought that was when he could have stopped. But we'll talk to Jaffe about this later. There was a regression to those guys standing around watching pucks again last night and just being in odd positions, backing up on defense and not playing a man or a puck, just kind of standing around in front of Swayman. It was weird.
The other thing about it was that you're playing, your margin for error is very slim when you go in and play Winnipeg. They're in their own building. And the goaltender they're playing, Connor Hellebuck, won the Vezina Trophy last year. If you look at his stats this year, he's even better. He's at the top of the league in wins and save percentage and goals against. They had a couple of chances early where they had Hellebuck diving in his crease and they couldn't put the puck in the net. And after that, I think it was more resignation. Okay, we're down 3-0. This goaltender is not going to give up 3 goals. And I don't know if you'd call it give up, but there was regression, like you were saying.
Well,
they were resigned to the fact that they were going to lose.
They scored the power play goal to Pasternak to make it 3-1.
Yep.
And then so I went, okay, this is interesting. Maybe they can pull like a Philadelphia, and then Winnipeg scored right again after that. And then I think you're right. I mean, the team looked disinterested. I suppose that's going to happen. There's 82 games. You're in Winnipeg at the beginning of a big road trip. And you get behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Winnipeg's a really good team with one of the best goaltenders in the world in their own building.
Right. So, look, we're not the kind of show that's going to dissect every single game. It was a terrible game. Every time Swayman plays this poorly, I go, oh, boy. But he had been good before this, so hopefully this is not – because the worst thing that can happen this season is Swayman falling apart because you're not getting out of that.
Let me ask you something, just off the top of your head. How much of this is not having Hampus Lindholm? Now, losing one guy shouldn't be mean disaster for your team. But Lindholm was far and away the best defenseman before he went out. The Bruins' defensive core hasn't been the same since he left.
Well, the Bruins have been good defensively since he's left, but offensively, I think that he's important. I think it's the difference between, a couple goals a week, I would say. Maybe 2-3 goals a week without him being in the lineup.
Yeah.
Defensively, I don't know how much better they can play except for last night.
Well, what did Swayman say about his performance last night?
Some of the goals that I let in, I know I could stop. That's something that I hold myself as a standard. When you let those in, it's not a great feeling. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen again and staying sharp and playing my game. I know that I could stop those goals, so that's what I'm going to do and push forward. So 5-1.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Yeah. Really, I feel like we lost that game only by about 4 goals. Sacco not worried specifically about what happened in the period that I tapped out on.
It's 3-1 after 2 periods. We've been in that position before. We thought that we could certainly work our way back into the game, but we didn't. So, you don't take too much stock at the end of the game when it's 7-8-1. But there's things that we need to address and correct, and we will.
I actually recorded the game. I thought there was a chance. It's like, it's 3-1 game. I'll hit record on this sumbitch. Check in the morning.
I'm the one who left the bar during Game 7 against Toronto. When they were down, what were they down? 3 goals, 2 goals?
It was the Bergeron game. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I had left the bar. I walked home, and then the TV happened. When I turned on the TV, it happened to be on Nesson, and I said, why are they doing the in-between periods report? And I realized that they had tied the game up.
Yep.
So I had missed that whole regular season action. Or during the regulation. I'd missed all that. But there you have it.
Well, Fred, don't feel too bad. I have the distinction of missing 2 huge moments in one night.
Oh.
The Unicorn Show Ponies Where's the Beef game.
Yes.
Was watching that in a bar and left early because convinced they were going to lose. So did not see the comeback because we were on our way to what, John? What was that same night?
I don't know. What was that same night?
Red Sox? ALCS, David Ortiz, Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Went
to Detroit. Yep.
Went to Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Outside, crappy seats, cold. Like, you know what? Let's go. Let's get out of here.
But you were probably pretty happy you left.
Happy no. God, I wasn't sitting there. You mean I was rooting for the Tigers?
Yeah.
No. I just wanted to be there to watch something. That was truly a game where I was just like, I'll just see something. And I think it was earlier in that series when Prince Fielder had tripped down over his own feet down the third baseline, and I decided they didn't deserve to win anyway. So I'm like, screw this team. But don't you want to be there just to witness it, just to see a grand slam in the postseason?
When I was a little kid, I did.
I was driving back to Rossi.
But now I like being in the building for an event. As long as I saw it in some way, shape, or form. But if it was the Cardinals in the World Series and they lost from a Red Sox Grand Slam, I'd be glad I wasn't there because I'd probably have a piece of Cardinals memorabilia on, and I would be taking real heck from the people that spent $10,000 for their seats.
Well, as bad as you feel about missing stuff like that, and like not seeing it, even if it's in a bar because you leave early, when you call it right. It's almost like
glorious.
It's a badge of honor.
Beetle, yeah.
Game 7 against St. Louis. Beetle and I are watching from level 9.
Yep.
And it was like 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
And look at me, you said, "You want to go?" Absolutely.
If I would have left earlier than that.
You know what I do now?
But, I mean, it's Game 7. Anything could happen.
No.
That's one of the worst games I've ever seen.
Not that nice. No.
You know what I did? What I do now is I stay late. I linger. I linger around while people leave.
Interesting.
And then I breeze right out, and the cabs that are there are much more willing to take me where I want to go. Or it's easier, or things have cleared out, so there's a lift.
How long do you wait?
I'll wait 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, is that all it takes?
Oh, I thought it'd be much more than that.
Oh, no. Thanksgiving Day game, even, I was like, everyone linger. And they had those like little things that light up on your wrist, so my daughter was like picking them all up because she's weird. and she was picking up all the things that light up on your wrist, and there's still like commotion on the field because they're talking to the players and stuff, and you watch the people file out. In the concourses at Ford Field are not that big, and so you just watch it all go, and then when you walk out, you're strolling. You get outside, and you're on your way. That's what my new strategy was. I don't like driving myself to the games. I don't like parking.
How far away did you stay from the from
Ford Field? We were a couple
Ford Field.
blocks. We walked.
That's
We walked to Little Caesars too.
I know. I know. I everything is close together. What a magical thing that is.
Yes.
You can stay and just walk to something.
Yeah.
like
Philly's the same way.
I remember I saw a Patriots game at the Superdome in New Orleans one year, and it was a long time ago. And I remember getting out of the Superdome and walking 20 minutes back to Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Nice.
I was like, my God, what? And it's warm.
Well, that's how
Fantastic.
Cleveland is, and they're
Fantastic.
moving that stadium to the suburbs. So
Yeah.
good for them. And they're building a big entertainment complex around it. So that's going to be hot stuff all the time.
That's right, Cleveland, both buildings.
Brown's Place.
The building looks beautiful.
The Browns thing is set off. The baseball park is right next to downtown. if I
No,
remember correctly.
no. That's not what I'm saying. The stadium is downtown right now.
Yes.
The where the Browns play. They're moving it to the suburbs.
Okay.
They've got. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I thought we were talking baseball. My mistake.
Baseball's downtown too.
Yeah.
Jonathan. Keep up.
I'm right here with you.
All right. Very good.
You know what?
That's how you know he's angry. at me.
He's not looking out the window yet, but he's getting close. There was a bit of a sigh in between tippy taps on the typewriter television this morning as he was getting his copy ready. You could tell he was thinking about that final headline he'll deliver on Tuesday, and then he's gone.
Not to let the cat out of the bag, but he tapes the last headline.
Oh no.
Oh,
My public.
do that.
Because he's got to get out of here. It's so important. That's from COVID when they didn't want the shows mixing by each other.
Yep.
And you got to think of how many lives that saved.
We're all still here. I mean, at this station.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if imagine like if we would have passed by each other,
All those times he'll have packages in the other room for 24 hours.
or when they built those clever barriers
Sorry.
between the two of us.
I don't know what's wrong with me. What am I doing?
Oh, the glass. The glass.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot
The glass
about
partitions
I
here.
forgot about
I
the
remember
glass
that.
partitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, those saved a lot of lives. Just hopefully, if that happens again, everyone just goes no. Nothing you did before work.
That's what my son asked me about. Whatever it was, the monkey flu or whatever was supposed to be happening. He says, "Do you think it'll happen again?" I said, "Nope, it will not happen again. Don't you worry about that." People just why? I said because people won't do it. Even if they really should this time, they won't. It's not going to happen.
If we're on the air and when something like that happens again, half this audience is going to hate me because I'm not doing S. I'm not listening to anything anyone says about anything.
There'll be a few
I'm
people-
smarter than everyone.
There'll be a handful of people very angry with you, but the vast majority will say, "Right on, we're not doing that either."
I'm not going to tell anyone what to do, but you better not tell me what to do. I'm pushing through. No, I'm dead serious. My kids stuff started coming out, and that wasn't good. The psychological stuff from that is not good. They really effed that up. Just read the CDC report. The CDC report about how much they screwed it up. That the kids should have been back in school that fall. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. me, I can't concentrate. Boss Man Glow is on SportsCenter Los Angeles, and he wears ski goggles on the side of his head, which will take off like in the early 90s when people started wearing Band-Aids. The Nellies and... TLC, Nelly, and... what rapper? One of the fat ones started wearing Band-Aids. And I was like, what the hell's up with the Band-Aids? And they never took off. Neither did a rubber on one eye. Be listening at 6:50 or 6 at the end of the
prophylactic, please.
For your chance to score a 4-pack of ice skating passes with skate rental for Boston's Winterfest. The city's largest and most immersive winter wonderland at Hood Park in Charlestown. Enjoy light displays, an ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to winterfestboston.com to learn more. All right. There's some hot stove. Oh, boy, I made a mistake.
Oh, hot stove. Let's go, everybody. Hot stove.
Yeah,
Let's go. Hey, we're back, everybody. Here we go.
Adam said hot stove in the meeting
Like
7,000 times. I had to tell him to stop saying hot stove.
Hot stove.
So I made a mistake yesterday is that I turned on the radio station at 6, and I heard, I came in here promising myself I wasn't going to crap on the Red Sox.
This is delicious.
You have my back, don't you, Skaggs? I was going to come in here. I was fitting just to talk nice and be not such a crazy person about
That's
them.
disgusting.
But then, newsflash, 5 minutes ago, the whole damn holy hell lets loose.
That's gross.
The dam done broke. Someone took their finger out of the dock and it spilled. And now it's my turn to dish. The Red Sox, I swore to God, I prayed the nerds weren't going to take care of this time and ruin it with their not spending money. Well, anyway, there was a big signing yesterday, as you have to imagine. And another one that's great for baseball. Go ahead.
More like Max fried. He really fried my sausage when I heard that news.
Please. Max Fried, more like maximum annoyance.
Yes, two-time All-Star Max Fried and the Yankees agreeing to that. Now, this surprises me. Not the 8-year, $218 million contract, but it is the largest only by $1 million more than the contract given to
David Price
by the Red Sox.
Yep.
So, and that was
7 years.
Some time ago. So no one has ponied up more money for a lefty since then, but that's what the Yankees did. So it's 8 years, $218 million pending a physical.
Well, there's a difference is that Fried is 31 in next month, and he will be well out of his career will be well over.
Yes.
Not exactly a large individual.
Yeah, by the time this thing's over, this contract's over, he's gonna be done. He's gonna be a piece of garbage before this contract's
Well, we were
over,
talking
well
about
before it's over.
how many years will Soto and his contract be a non-factor? At least a third of it. Which is, 5 years?
Yeah, last 4 or 5 years.
Well, I bet you he opts out of it, and I bet you he gets more money because by the time he has the opportunity to opt out of it,
he'll be 31.
Yeah, and he'll get another payday. He'll get another huge payday. There's no way he's finishing that contract.
But what do you think with the free deal? You think half of it is worth it?
Yeah, I think that what they said is we lost out on Soto. This is plan B. We were going to do whatever we could to get him. And if I'm a Yankee fan, I love it. It's Steinbrenner's money. What do I care who they pay?
Yeah.
It's not like a cap situation. They can do whatever they want. And, yeah, they said, all right, in order to justify the money, we're going to just have to – he wants 8 years, and, we're willing to eat 4 of them, hopefully only 3, but 4 of them if that wins us a title. And we feel like because of PR, we have to move on this. And that's why I never thought that the Red Sox stood a chance with them, which is why I think the best move you could possibly make, and I said it yesterday, is dealing for Crochet because you were in a position where you have more than anyone else that can afford them.
Also, Dylan Cease, apparently, who's now was in Chicago, now is in San Diego, and you could probably get him as well. They've been linked to him already.
All right, but you trade. I'd rather have Crochet, but you can do either. And you trade and then you extend. And that's how you work that.
Corbin Burns, who is the other big pitcher on the free agent market, he's right-handed. He's also a bigger guy. He's like 6'3", 240, so he might last a little bit longer into the contract. But he's a year younger than Fried, and looking at the numbers, better. So if Fried got 8 years and $218 million, how much is Burns going to get? Burns will probably go way past 218 because there are still teams that need pitching. But including the Mets, by the way.
Yeah, I know. And then that's what's sad about this offseason is that he'll make a lot of money, but it's not like and there's a lot of teams that need pitching, but it's not like there's a lot of teams that are going to be in on him.
I'm very interested to see what the Red Sox do or don't do over the next couple of weeks.
I'd be very interested, and it's not anything I'm going to do, but to poke around during the winter meetings to every market with a baseball team and find out how much they're talking about baseball. Because I would think outside of New York and Los Angeles, they're not talking about it at all.
Well, let's not look past what the Red Sox have already done, as Craig Breslow discussed yesterday, the Aroldis Chapman signing.
In no way does this diminish the severity of the suspension and of the incident, but at the same time, this is someone who has been in good standing in 5 different organizations over the last 8 years, and ultimately it was a difficult decision, but one that we got comfortable with.
Yeah, we're comfortable with it. That's fine.
Yeah, there were gunshots.
Yeah.
Choked a woman.
Look,
but that was 9 years ago.
If Matt McCarthy is frustrated, if you're frustrated, he understands.
I understand, the frustration that many fans have carried for a number of years right now, and I think our players, our staff, and our front office, they share that frustration, and we intend to do everything that we can to improve our team.
Okay. That'd be great. If
everyone's frustrated.
If I hadn't heard that each of the last 5 years, that's great.
Guys who work for me, guys who are on the team.
Just don't talk.
Everyone's frustrated.
Don't say anything.
Why are they frustrated? Well, because we don't do anything.
Don't say anything.
We don't. Well, but I understand the frustration. We don't do anything.
Yeah,
we don't do anything.
Yeah. The owners are saying, Sam Kennedy, it's on me. Like you have any possibility of losing your job. It's on me. Okay, great. It's on you. But there's no danger in that.
You know what's on them? Egg. And it's located on a place called their face. 617-779-0985. I'm fit to be tied.
Yeah.
So Skaz, hold me back.
Skaz, you can vouch for me, right? I was all set to give him a break. I thought, heavens to Murgatroyds, this year is going to be different, but it ain't.
So, Matt, you're not going to any Red Sox games this year because of this. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not going to say that. No. I was going to say something.
Self-edited right there.
Yeah, I self-edited. All right, very good.
Alex Cora speaking yesterday also. He's one of the guys who's frustrated. Now, not as frustrated as he was because he got a big, juicy new contract, but he still wants players like Bregman. He'd be nice to have.
Alex is a good player, man. He's a complete player. He's a player that he's been in winning teams, right, his whole career. Good defender. Offensively, he's really good. He's a guy that a lot of people are talking about, right, and I do believe he can impact a big league team, a championship caliber team. He's that type of player.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be going anywhere. You know who they're thinking about trading is the rumor is that they will be trading because they don't like to give away big contracts. A man by the name of Kyle Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Tucker is right fielder, left-handed bat. They don't need him.
A very, very, very good player.
Yeah,
too.
But he's not someone the Red Sox would be interested in. But nonetheless, he is available. That's the guy. Bregman, according now, what do I know? I'm just reading stuff. But according to what I've read, a couple sources. Don't worry about it. They're on the internet. The Bregman is interested in staying and that they want to keep him. But Kyle Tucker is someone who's going to demand a huge contract coming up, and they're not going to want to give that to him.
One quick thing. The Red Sox are now in a situation where they're not necessarily an attractive organization to go to. So in order to get someone to come to Boston, you're going to have to blow them away. You're going to have to pull a Steve Cohen and say, we're just going to outspend everybody on free agents. So say Burns wants 220, the Red Sox are going to have to offer 240 to make sure that he comes here. Or they're going to have to knock over an organization with prospects.
You know what people are saying is one of the reasons that Soto went to the Mets, which is really funny, is that they gave him a box.
Oh, yeah, I read that too. The Yankees wouldn't give him a box.
Yeah.
And because they make Aaron Judge pay for his, they wouldn't give Soto a free box. So that was the deciding factor, according to the report that we read.
Yeah. That sounds like,
it wasn't the extra $50 million that Cohen put on top of it.
When you're like 12 and you're designing your dream home and it has like a Slurpee machine in it. Like, yeah, okay.
You're Devontae Adams. You have a Taco Bell downstairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, how sweet would it be if there was like a pizza oven?
That's right.
All right. By the way, caller number 10, the contest line.
I would want one of them big Arby's rotisserie carving things.
The only thing that they're carving out is a bunch of payroll so they can feed it to the dang Liverpool Soccer Club. Caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985 will score a 4-pack of ice skating passes. If you're giving the Red Sox the pass, you're a fool. With skate rental, they're probably trading for some rentals at the deadline.
I can hear the smile in your voice. You're so pleased with yourself
for
right
Boston's
now.
Winterfest.
It should be. This is good imitation. One of my
Winterfest,
favorites.
if you want to warm up, there ain't no hot stove around here.
Let's go. Hot stove.
Hot stove.
Adam said it 55 times. The city's largest and most immersive winter wonderland is Boston Winterfest at Hood Park in Charlestown. Jesus Christ. Enjoy light displays and ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to winterfestboston.com to learn more. We'll be back with something very interesting is coming on TV. Something I was a fan of when I was a kid, but it's pretty sad, actually. It's actually pretty uncomfortable. So we'll play it for you. We'll have it for you in just a moment.
98.5. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Bruins had their 4-game winning streak snapped in Winnipeg last night, care of an ugly 8-1 loss to the Jets in the opener of a 5-game road trip. It was far and away the worst defeat Joe Sacco's endured since he took over for Jim Montgomery.
They were just a better team tonight, I thought, pretty much from start to finish. The penalties got us into a little bit of trouble tonight. Overall, we just had to start the road trip that we wanted.
Jeremy Swayman was in net for all 8 goals in this game. The Bruins were down 2-0 after one period, and it got worse from there. The road trip continues in Seattle tomorrow night. Former Bruins defenseman Kevin Shattenkirk announced his retirement yesterday. As for the Red Sox, their night wasn't much better. They saw the top free agent lefty available, Max Fried, sign an 8-year, $218 million contract with the Yankees, and then saw Nathan Eovaldi sign a 3-year, $75 million deal to go back to Texas. The Washington Nationals won the first-year player draft lottery last night. The Red Sox will pick 15th overall. Patriots will be back at practice today with an eye towards a road game against Arizona on Sunday. The Athletic is reporting that the University of North Carolina has offered their head football coaching job to Bill Belichick. Negotiations on terms are continuing between the two sides. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the perfect holiday gift, 99 restaurant gift cards. They're the perfect gift for everyone on your list. For every $25 you purchase, you get a $5 bonus card for yourself. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com. Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Dutcher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Do it. Do it now. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube by hitting subscribe. It's the future of everything. When I was a little kid, I would go to my mom made me go to her parents' house in stupid Kings Park, Long Island, which there was nothing to do. And I had cousins there, but they did not care for me. They were all very much older than me and did not care. The only good thing that ever happened is one time when I was older, probably like in 8th grade, I was skateboarding around the neighborhood they lived in. And we were sitting down watching TV in the evening, and 2 girls knocked on the window and asked if I could come out.
Oh.
I ended up making out with one of them.
Which
Nice.
The fat one.
Now, what was her name, Fred? First and last name, and what was her birthday?
Hildegard Fazzarelli. And she was fat. No, I don't. I think she had blonde hair. But anyway, it was like the only time anything like that ever happened to me. I had like a moment in 8th grade, and I could show you pictures where I was good looking.
Is that when you peaked?
I was like good looking. Like I had no hair on my chest or body. I was
hot.
I was thin. I couldn't like get a beard or anything yet.
Slippery.
Well, better than I am now. And there was a moment where I was like a brief moment where I was good looking, and it was 8th grade. Like in 8th grade, like we went to Hilton Head, and I would go on the beach at night, like girls would come up to me. Like it was the only time in my life before or since that girls would approach me.
Slippery T, origin story.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, and I don't remember when, but I started getting real ugly. And even before I got fat, I was pretty ugly. But that's besides the point. My teeth were still straight. I had to re-straighten them, but my teeth were still straight. I had a lot going for me. I'll bring a picture in. Maybe you take it home with you. But when I was a kid, when I became a fan of the Jets, and when I was real little, they had the New York Sack Exchange, which was Marty Lyons, Joe Klecko, Mark Gastineau, and some other guy.
Abdul Salam.
Sure. And he just happened to be on the defensive line at the same time.
Yes.
And
But it's better with 3.
Mark Gastineau was number 99. He had long hair. He would do these crazy celebrations. And there's a 30 for 30 coming out, even though you might not care about him or were never aware of them, you're going to enjoy it. And there's one very uncomfortable moment. Here's a little background.
The New York Sack Exchange.
Flecko, Lyon, Salam, Gastineau.
If you hit a quarterback and if they got up, you didn't do your job.
They were a brotherhood.
There is no magic formula for controlling the New York Sack Exchange.
But brothers don't always play nice.
Flecko could not stand me.
I should be waiting all day for you.
Well, get down and stand.
I don't know what you were doing. I'm still trying to forgive and forget.
All right, so that was the team where they didn't cover the field in 1982 in Miami during a rainstorm. So because they were too explosive offensively, and they lost the AFC Championship game. But other than that, they didn't win anything. I was real little when that happened, but I knew life was unfair. And if you want a little more background on Mark Gastineau, here are his Sack Exchange teammates talking about him. Again, you guys remember him being a big star, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was he had the all-time record. You have to know this going into. He had the all-time record for sacks until Strahan beat it. He had 21 and a half sacks or something.
Take a look. From 81 to 84, he was responsible for about 66 sacks.
Yeah, so he was really, really good, and he's not in the Hall of Fame, but Joe Klecko is. And here are his teammates talking about him.
But you know what? Everybody asks me, why aren't you in the Hall of Fame?
That's Gastineau talking.
Yeah.
But you know what? Everybody asks me, why aren't you in the Hall of Fame? Do you know how long I've thought about it? A long time. Somebody that had more sacks than anybody on that team, somebody that played their butt off, somebody that did more than anybody that had played. I don't know why I'm not in the Hall of Fame.
I know I was elected to the Hall of Fame, and,
This is Joe Klecko.
feels that he should have a nod now. Don't live and die by that, because you're going to die. You're going to die with it more than live.
I told people you're the greatest athlete.
This is Marty Lyons, who was part of the Sack Exchange.
I told people you're the greatest athlete I've ever played with, but I will tell you this. You were selfish. If you don't want to admit you were selfish, fine. That's my opinion. You were selfish.
He didn't care about...
And this is that Salam fella.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care about making a tackle on a running back. If it wasn't the quarterback, he didn't care. Mark was an awesome talent. One-dimensional or not. You have a specialist that rushed the passer now. So he changed the game in that sense.
So they're not very fond of him. Now, Mark Gastineau went on to marry Brigitte Nielsen, which lasted a very long time before Flavor Flav disrupted the marriage.
First athlete I can remember who married a celebrity.
Yeah.
I can't think of an athlete getting with because Brigitte Nielsen for us, I mean, she was A-list.
Yeah.
I mean, she was
mid-80s. She was it. Yeah.
Rocky IV. She's in Cobra, for crying out loud. I mean, this is an A-lister.
Yeah, in Cobra, they really explained how they got together pretty well, too. She was all traumatized, and he came in and goes, I'm going to protect you and bang you.
Yeah.
And but this is why we're playing all this. This is a 30 for 30 that's coming out, so you might not care, but you will care about this. Now, here's Mark Gastineau. He's old now. He's not in the Hall of Fame. And remember, he had this all-time season sacks record before Michael Strahan. And remember how Michael Strahan got that. He was going he got into the backfield, and Brett Favre took a dive, and Strahan just put his hands on him. So, they were called out a little bit for it, but Strahan's moved on. He's a big star now. Life goes on. So Brett Favre, who's not doing well himself, but this is from like a year ago. Brett Favre, who's unfortunately very ill, he's at a signing that Gastineau's at, and Gastineau goes to approach him at this signing.
It looks like Favre actually goes up to Gastineau.
Fair enough. But it had to have been set up in some way that Gastineau was the leader of it. I don't think that Brett Favre goes, Gastineau's at a table. Like, whatever it was, Favre is the innocent one in this. So here is how this all goes down. It's very uncomfortable. It was very difficult to watch, actually.
Yeah.
Mark Gastineau's record of 22 sacks in a single season, which he achieved in 1984, stood until the final minutes of the 2001 season.
Strahan gets the sack. And you know what? No one's happier than Brett Favre. He gets the record. Well, he got to give me is what he got.
There was nobody else that wanted Michael to get that more than Brett, and he showed it right there.
I didn't know what had happened. The NFL should have stopped that. and said, listen, no, that's not a sack. He took my record away from me. Anybody will tell you Brett Favre took a dive. And you know it, she knows it, he knows it, and everybody knows it. Excuse me.
So he's coming up to Brett Favre and him are meeting at a signing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Finally met. Now you tell
we
me.
met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
It's weird. Real weird.
Two guys that just Favre, especially watching him in that clip, he's taken aback a little bit if he wasn't prepped, for this.
Oh, he wasn't prepped.
He did a very good acting job. I don't believe he was prepped.
This is pure.
But beyond the shock of it, you can tell he's not doing well. Gastineau isn't doing well. He's dealing with all kinds of health issues and personal issues, but you've got two guys, trying to get into this battle of wits and wills, and neither one of them are equipped for the fight.
Well, it just seems that Favre is completely blindsided, so I don't know what he's supposed to do. There's a camera on him, and this weirdo is like saying all this stuff from a long time ago that he probably had no idea. Like, he doesn't probably have any idea anymore that Strahan broke Gastineau's record, or that Gastineau cares about it.
I wonder, because, Gastineau was obviously disliked by his teammates. He was disliked around the league for crossing the picket line. Nobody liked him for that. That was a huge sticking point for other players, not just on his team, but around the league. Anybody was, crossing picket lines.
Well, anyway, but they weren't contemporaries, so I don't know if Favre would remember it.
Yeah,
I was a Mark Gastineau fan, and I don't remember that Strahan broke the record. And I'm just saying that Favre has accomplished a lot in his life and has gone through more since then. And I just don't think that he has Gastineau on the top of his head as someone who might be on his S list. Instead of the state of Mississippi or anything else that he might be in trouble with. But what's very sad is like when guys can't let things go over the course of their lifetime. Because if you're still embattled by that, Gastineau doesn't have long to live, it looks like. And if you're still thinking about how someone broke your record 30 years ago, a single season sack record, like that, and that's what's eating at you, like in your life, in the totality of life, the wisdom that you've gained is that everything would be better if you just had the single season sack record still. That's very sad. That's extremely sad. That, you wouldn't have said my life was great at that point. It is what it is. I am who I am, sack record or not. I enjoyed the moment of accomplishing it. And really, if I have had the sack record still, nothing would be different. And my life would be no better. Proving my life lies within me. Those are the really sad things. Because when was the last time you saw that? At least athletes, you usually see them, they're just all beat up and stuff, like physically. Or they're like not totally there mentally, but like still bitter about something as dumb as the all-time season sack record. That's weird. And that's what's so uncomfortable about that, is that Gastineau is an old man and he's still pissed off enough to confront a guy who I don't think has any idea what he's confronting him about.
Yeah, uncomfortable is one thing. Just uncomfortable can be fun. It can be funny. This is uncomfortable and sad.
Yeah, this isn't Scott's Tots, which is just horribly uncomfortable on The Office.
Well,
this is really sad. Like it's very difficult to watch. So ESPN, they were probably putting together a sack exchange thing. I wonder which came first. Gastineau confronting Favre or this idea for the sack exchange thing?
Because if you have this footage,
you're making
like,
it.
Oh, we got to make a whole show, and this is the payoff right here.
Immediately after seeing this.
Yeah, because imagine if you're like, we're going to make a sack exchange thing. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Like Gastineau's life's kind of sad. And then you're like, all right, and you put a camera on him and follow him around for like 3 months, and the first thing he does is go up to Brett Favre, and you get this. He said, well, we just have a hit. Because now everyone's going to want to know what the hell's going on with Gastineau. I mean, you read it, Johnny. He had 3 years, basically, where he was good.
Yeah, he was like 81, 82, 83, 84, some of 85, and that's it. I think he was NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 84.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there was like a 4 or 5 year window where he was the best defensive lineman in football. But not since then. And he's almost 70 years old. And you know who he sounds like to me? This may or may not track with you. Bill Romanowski, where we had him on talking about, I need wild boar, wild hunters and that kind of stuff. But Romanowski is another example of a guy who's taken one too many hits. They can't let anything go. And Gastineau is in that neighborhood. And if I'm around him, Gastineau is a big guy. So if you have a big guy who's angry with you and maybe not all there, very dangerous place to be.
What exactly do you mean you're going to get your sack back? Are you talking to?
Yeah.
You're going to tackle me? Here at the autograph signing?
If I'm Favre, Favre's not a big guy. If I'm Favre, I start running in the opposite direction.
And also, really, what do you want Favre to do about it now? Like, you can say, like, I didn't. He doesn't even say it right.
Make a phone call. I'll have this fixed up in a jiffy.
If he went up to him and like, look, I think you're a pussy for doing that, and you hurt me by doing that. Then it's like sad still, but at least he's just expressing himself. But he's like, I want my sack back. Like, I want my sack back 40 years later. Eesh. 40 years since he said it. Eesh. That's sad. All right, we will be back. And that's what you hope you're not like. You hope you don't get old and, like, you just cling. That's like Al Bundy stuff. Like, you hope you don't just cling to the 4-touchdown game you had in your senior year,
Sure as anything, he's got a framed, like, 99 jersey in his basement.
Yeah, you want to think that you can appreciate that time happened, but since then you've, like, learned a lot and da-da-da-da-da. That's what you got to do. That's what you hope. Well, Bill Belichick is older than Mark Gastineau, but he's having the time of his life. You're aware that he has been offered the North Carolina head coaching position. But you're saying, why haven't they just jumped at it? Well, there's literally a 400-page, what would you call it, Hardy?
Manifesto.
Manifesto. Yeah. He's just a piece of crap. Like, I'll take this tier 2 college job, but here's all this. But you're going to do it on my terms. Uh-huh.
What terms? I got a whole list of them.
Yeah, this is one thing.
I'm glad you asked.
This is like if you're handing these to the New York Giants, okay. You're handing this to some, like, JV team. All right, very good. And you should have heard these callers calling to the national shows. Well, he's in the ACC, and, Tebow keeps talking about how he doesn't like NIL, and he'll probably quit. So, they'll probably make the football playoff and win a game or two. Oh, yeah, they will. They'll get right in there. That recruit, and they're like that, and they'll be able to take advantage of that fertile recruiting ground, the Carolinas. They're all, everybody's from the Carolinas.
The trustees look at this and go, "What?"
Yeah, everyone's from the Carolinas. I guess the trustees, the boosters want it. The trustees don't, but he's been offered the job.
Yeah, the trustees definitely do not.
All right, but we'll get into it in just a moment.
Sports Hub.
Everything we read, we just think to ourselves, yeah, Bill's going to run a college football professional program. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
thanks for laying
we'll
out.
See. We'll see.
I read it. I'm just telling you, I read it. Big if.
What? What the hell is Pat McAfee talking about? He's talking to Bill, and they've got their own kind of shorthand lingo. And if you don't understand it, Brett, that's on you.
You know I'm playing this, right, Freddie?
Yeah.
I think
Because
we're gonna
this
make
is
this
what
the
Lombardi
new,
likes.
No, we're going to make this the new Bill Belichick theme, I think. Heck.
Well, it should be for Lombardi.
Yes.
No one loves you.
They must soul samples this.
Oh, yeah, they do.
I know.
All right. Everyone loves them. Everyone loves them. Steely Dan. All right. Bill Belichick is looking at the North Carolina job, which I made the mistake of going, oh, good for him. And that's on me because I thought, oh, good for him. He realizes he's old and he's not going to get an NFL coaching job. And if he really loves coaching so much, go to college and help the lives of young men and make a little bit of money in the process. I saw North Carolina. It makes sense. Humble yourself a little bit. Go to like some JV program that just fired a guy older than you and get in. He wants to give his kid a job, and I hear people like Callahan running around in circles trying to justify it not being weird nepotism. Sure, whatever. Who cares? It's a North Carolina job. And, go off and go into the sunset and, take simp pics with your lady and do all these things. But no. It's not that simple. Bill Belichick's got to do it on quote-unquote his terms. Now, we know why he's interested in the Carolina job. It's simple. He knows he's not going to get another job, and he's old. So he wants to get another job this offseason. If he doesn't get one this offseason, it's not like the next offseason is going to be better for him. He wants to coach next year. It's not going to be in the NFL. Despite whatever reason, every talking head, I saw it yesterday, like Jerry Jones was talking about Bill Belichick, and the three guys on the ESPN are sitting there going like, oh, you got to hire Belichick. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. He hasn't won without Tom Brady. He wasn't a good coach when he left here, and he's a terrible personnel guy, and he's a prick. And you don't think Kraft's going around in that? If you think Kraft has anything going on, what do you think Kraft says about Belichick? I mean, those guys, there's 32 of those guys. You don't think that they're all the only ones of them in the world. You don't think that they have communication? I mean, this isn't some hot prodigy. This is some old dick. It's going to be hard for him to get a job. Sorry, Jordan.
It's going to this move that he has pulled with North Carolina may eliminate college jobs too.
So anyway, so I'm explaining my thinking is that I thought good for him. I really did. But no, he can't just humble himself and take the North Carolina job. There's some strings attached.
Yes. So the report is that the job has been offered, and now that it's out there, Bill has his own list of things that he would wish for or that he would insist upon. And John, if you have the entire list in front of you, because I've seen like bits and pieces of it. And number one, it has been reported that these are, if not demands, at least things that Bill would require. And among them are obviously control over his staff, but also a secondary staff to do the thing that you said, right, Fred, that you are completely right about. And I think a lot of people have said when it comes to recruiting, he needs another entire staff of people to handle the recruiting aspect of the job, because he won't be doing any of it.
It's called an organizational Bible. That's how he phrased it.
Love it.
It's an organizational Bible. Structure, payment plans, staffing choices, decisions on whether or not to commit with North Carolina. And he has to have his son as the head coach in waiting.
Bill, I want to go to the corn maze. I'm writing my manifesto. Bill! Jordan, I'm writing my manifesto. Bill! Okay. I'll be back, manifesto.
Hold on, we're going antiquing.
Hold on, I gotta go to the costume shop and try on some costume.
I gotta go to this paint party where we're gonna apparently all get a canvas and we all make the same painting of a sailboat.
On page 34, article Z, you can't make fun of me for what I do with my girlfriend.
So imagine being one of the trustees of North Carolina. You're like, you know what? It's really a basketball school. We'd like to be a football school. We understand the importance of football. But, this would be a big jump. This would be huge. As long as we don't upend things and have to change basically how the university operates. That's exactly what you're going to have to do.
Okay,
you're going to have to change everything if you want to get this guy.
Okay, this is a report from The Guardian, but I don't know if it's true or not, but it's funny as hell to read. Belichick's Bible would require historic levels of investment from the school, including salary minimums position by position, a willingness to hire 2 staffs, a coaching staff run by Belichick and a recruitment staff run by a sitting college GM who would require a buyout if they wanted to get rid of him. He has a college and pro version of his updated manual and has shared it with other schools and NFL teams. Gosh, I wonder why no one wants to hire him. But he drafted a new one specific to North Carolina that touched on every aspect of the program in school. We'll need to sign off from the AD, the chancellor, the trustees, and the boosters. There has already been pushback from a group of 13 trustees with input from wider facilities. The investment would overhaul the school's approach to football.
Why are you pushing back on this, Trustee Johnson? Well, he wants to knock down the super collider that we just built on the science and technology portion of the campus so he can build a hill for guys to run up and down. I don't want to knock down the new particle accelerator so that our new head football coach has a place for guys to run.
What if you just said no? Like no to all of this. No. And then we'll give you the job, but I'm not doing any of this stuff.
I think essentially that's what they did, because the Athletic has to report that North Carolina has already offered him the job, but negotiations continue. What I think happened is North Carolina said, okay, we want you as the head football coach. And Belichick said, fine, but you have to adhere to this.
Well, here's what I think happened. I think Belichick leaked that they offered him the job because he wants it to sound like he walked away from it.
Sure.
Because instead of that North Carolina pulled the offer, because if North Carolina pulled the offer, now no way he's getting a job. If he can't get a job with North Carolina football, I mean, he's taking a big risk by going into this thing and swinging it around. Because if he doesn't end up there, I don't think this helps him at all. I think it makes him look like a lost cause.
Honestly, I think Belichick, and I bet you anything, he called Nick Saban and go, Nick, how'd you run your program? And Nick's like, okay, I have a recruitment staff. I have a GM who does everything. I'm kind of like the overseer of everything. I have what Belichick wants, I assume, is exactly what a top 5 college football program has.
Yeah.
These mid-majors, and for lack of a better phrase, North Carolina's that second tier down, these schools that aren't routinely top 10 teams, they run the programs a little bit differently than Nick Saban. Or the kid, or the guy at Notre Dame.
Well, just in a conference that actually means something to football, which is there's only 2 of them. So if you're trying to put all this on an ACC school, I think he's trying to get himself out of actually being offered the job for real.
Then why would you put yourself in this? Like, why would you meet with them several times? It makes you look bad.
No, I think he wants the job, but he really wants what Nick Saban has. And unfortunately, North Carolina's not going to give him all that.
By the way, there's no way he thinks he can get an NFL job if this is going on at all. That is true. You cannot, unless he's insane. Because,
well, according to this report, he has an NFL version of this that he's already shared with NFL teams.
Yeah.
Now, but knowing this, you can understand why NFL teams back away. But
you realize you don't go this deep in the weeds with North Carolina if you have any opportunity to coach in the NFL, because you've just cheapened your brand.
Right.
Sure.
Like let's put it this way: Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson aren't going to Louisville, and going to go, which is a bad example because they're too good. So is Oregon State. I can't think maybe Oregon State. They're not. Washington State's too good. Maybe they're gonna go to they go to Oregon. They're like Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel aren't before the coaching cycle in the NFL starts. Starting to go to Oregon State and talk about the job over there. like that's not happening.
No, I think if he had gotten so much as a text message from somebody from the Cowboys or Jacksonville or what's another tip? The Carolina. I don't know, anyone that you could conceivably think of having an interest in Bill Belichick. If there was any interest at all, he wouldn't be going through all this. But the weird part of it is, Fred, that I can't wrap my head around is why issue all these demands unless you're just completely oblivious to the situation here that they're not going. I don't think there's any way North Carolina agrees to all this stuff.
Actually, I don't even know like what of it is above and beyond. I mean, it's just weird to me. Like maybe this is just like standard operating procedure, what he's asking for.
It could be some of it.
It's just funny to me that he has on the ready a 400-page manifesto, which if you had a book editor at Doubleday, they'd make you cut that at least down by a third. Right. Like if you brought someone a 400-page manuscript, they'd go, okay, this is great. Lose 100 pages of it at least.
Give me the one sheet. Give me the elevator pitch.
A lot of it has to be like so into the minutia. Like every question has to be answered. Oh, how are we going to pay for this? Well, this is what I want from you.
It's a man with this such a need to control everything that it's almost like a sickness. 400 pages of anything. Believe me, that book that you got, if you got one at home, pick it up. It ain't 400 pages. 400 pages of a how-to manual on how to run a JV college program is really something. And you're right, he did talk to Saban. And if I'm North Carolina, I'm like, we're not Alabama, and we're in no danger of having anywhere in the vicinity possible of having the NIL money that they command, or being in the ballpark, I would guess, within $1 billion of what that school makes in terms of its revenue.
I'm not hiring 7 new people to run your program.
I don't know if that's standard or not. Like that might just be like stuff that most schools
seems
do.
like a lot.
But my point is that it's just the minutia of the 400 pages, and there's all of that. Because I can't speak to what in there is realistic and what's not. I know that you're probably right, and he did talk to Saban, and I know that those two things are like saying the Lowell Spinnards and the New York Yankees. Like there's a lot of difference between those programs. I mean, you could want North Carolina. North Carolina's best case scenario is that they could become a team that every 10 years challenges for the ACC title. Like if Clemson, and because Florida State sucks now, like Clemson, Louisville, like if they're like every 10 years, why not? Like they beat Clemson, and then maybe they win the ACC. And then they make the college football playoff. Like TCU was in the college football playoff, and they won a game. They were in the final. No, they were in the finals.
Oh, it was finals. That's right.
They beat Michigan
2 years ago.
Yeah. Michigan State was in a Final Four. Like these teams, Michigan State's a better program, but these teams can do it. But
outside of North Carolina football fans and maybe other coaching staffs at other schools, who else? If North Carolina caves this and they give Bill everything he wants and he puts together this massive program to build it up, who else outside of those two groups, Carolina football fans and other coaches, who else is going to be rooting for this to be a success? Does anybody want to see this happen? Because I understand the cat's already out of the bag, and with the NIL money and all this stuff that college football has turned into. But I got to believe at some point somebody is going to put the brakes on this thing and to turn it into this monstrosity where coaches come in. And Fred, I don't know how much of it is already in place. I'm sure at schools like Alabama and Texas, there's probably a fair amount of this already going on. But to where every school now, if you want to have a football team, this is what it's going to require. Because if Belichick is successful doing it, that's what schools are going to think. Nobody wants that. The schools don't want it. I don't think a lot of fans of the schools want it.
All right, we got a break. We're up against it. We'll be right back.
Newsflash.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hardy, it's very exciting as John's thoughts go to literally going south. He has how many shows left after today? 4?
4.
So Tuesday of next week is your last show.
Correct.
You know who's doing headlines in your absence?
Who's that?
A man by name Matt McCarthy, we found
That's
out.
gross. all 3 days next week I'm out?
No, Thursday, according to...
Okay.
Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, nice.
What's the plan for Friday's show? Because both Fred and John are going to be gone.
Kendra Middleton is on headlines a week from Friday, the 20th.
And it's Hardy and who?
Dan Roach.
Oh, nice. An all positive day right there.
I'll be here too.
Okay.
Even better.
Okay.
Hardy, you are surrounded that day, boy.
hold on a
You're in big trouble.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Maybe you bang out for that one.
I don't know, A, if that's allowed, and B, I'm going to have to have a talk with Kendra before those headlines on Friday.
What are you going to say to her?
Can we workshop this together, you and I? And this is probably better off the air. But there's a couple of things, as you have often said that you would make a good, radio consultant for things. There's a couple of things I hear every once in a while that if I were in a position to modify them, I would.
There's some things she does that you would like to modify.
Yes, I'm not in a position to do so. Who am I, right?
Well, she's a young broadcaster. I'm sure she'd like to hear from a veteran like yourself.
Maybe you kind of break the ice this coming Friday when she's in.
That's my. Well, by then it's too late. By the time that mic cracks for that first headline,
No,
it's
but this Friday, this Friday,
I've got a week.
Yeah, you have a little dry
kind of
run.
ease into it this Friday, and she'll be prepared for next Friday.
I've had Kendra as a co-host, let alone doing the headlines.
Has she done the headlines for you?
Probably, but I know she's co-hosted, and there was someone else doing the headlines
As a radio
this time last year.
As a radio consultant, would you modify the use of "Hey Party People" when addressing the audience?
That's one ad. In fairness to her,
no, that's
she says "Hey Party People" a lot.
You listen on the weekends. She does.
No, I
headlines
haven't in a
sometimes
long.
on the
I have not in
weekends.
a long time.
Ryan Beaton says she says it for every headline.
Every headline update she does.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, that's not something the audience is going to enjoy.
The audience generally does not enjoy being referred to as a collective. Hey, party people of Boston, listen up because I'm going to tell you what's going on in the headline.
But maybe she knows it's annoying, so she's doing it ironically.
Sure.
That's a lot.
She could also be
That's
trying to
lot of
develop a
credit.
catchphrase. She is an influencer. Influences
I
all
don't.
those phrases.
There's
Party people?
I don't. Yeah, that's
Sure.
been done. Your dreams have now been fulfilled. Party people, your dreams have now been fulfilled.
Well, we'll workshop
So,
this on the
let's
air
get
on
it.
Friday.
We're
That's
more
what
than
I
rough.
was.
They got a whole
We calling your
segment.
bluff. And when it comes to rhymes, what song is that, Adam?
You got me stumped. Give me a hint?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Newsnet.
It is De La Soul. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh.
You don't even know that song.
From the album No One Owns. Yeah. Cool.
There's two of them.
Yeah.
Artificial Intelligence.
Yeah.
No, you didn't know.
I know that album.
No, you didn't.
That's a track that has Shaka Khan on it.
No, it doesn't. It has Redman on it.
Oh, it's on the same
Woof.
album then.
You
2000
stink.
or so.
All right, get out of here. Get out of here. You've been schooled. All right, what is this that I'm about to play?
Well, believe it or not, we're going to Florida where there was an automobile accident. A man who you might think was confused about something, but this was deliberate.
A Tampa insurance office was the target of a different type of attack.
You see? Not like the guy who was assassinated that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, maybe this was in connection to a previous story. Maybe there was a...
I thought they were having fun with the guy getting assassinated.
I don't think so. This was
An insurance office was another kind of attack, but this one didn't involve coming up behind him and killing him.
Well, this is from, I think, a day or two before the actual insurance.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you told me because this seems like be very poor taste if it was not.
A Tampa insurance office was the target of a different type of attack. Things got heated outside a USAA office yesterday. Police say a 70-year-old man wanted to speak to a representative, but...
I want to speak to a representative.
Right.
I've been on hold for 20 minutes. I could come down to that office, talk to you myself.
Some people use that online chat bot. Other people, go through the customer service. You call the 800 number.
I'm looking for Akbar.
This guy.
I can't understand him on the telephone. You show me which one of these cubicles is Akbar's.
Akbox?
Akbar. I don't understand your language. So I went down to the office to talk to him.
Sure. So, yeah, he just drove to the USAA building. So far, so good.
I don't want to talk to your manager, Abdul. I want to see you in person. Which one of you was on the telephone talking to me? So you'll need an airline ticket for that.
What happened next landed that man in jail.
Did Robert Beatty appear yet?
Wearing an orange jumpsuit, the 70-year-old Tampa resident attended his first court appearance via video screen Wednesday.
Mr. Beatty, you're being held on a charge of burglary of an occupied structure.
That structure is the USAA facility on Commerce Park Boulevard in Tampa. Around 2 p.m. Tuesday, Tampa police say Robert Beatty showed up to the front gate of USAA, which offers insurance, banking, and retirement solutions for military members, veterans, and eligible family members.
What, are you reading the disclaimer? USAA. Yeah, I mean, what the hell? Nice ad for USAA.
But is it just for military people?
I'd like to get up to 30% off my auto insurance.
Oh, you can't do that, Gronk. I'm sorry.
Gronk's a lot of stolen valor in those ads. Not well thought out.
What's your member number?
87.
No, that's your jersey number, you big silly goose.
Yeah, you big stupid ass. Jesus, are you dumb? By the way, watch Gronkowski on the $60,000 pyramid or whatever it's called now. Whatever it is.
$100,000 pyramid.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no,
it's not funny.
I have not. You've mentioned this before, and I've yet to get to it.
It's you'll be like he's like a child, like a elementary school student. Yeah. All right, here we go. Not like in a fun party way either. Like in that he's not processing information at any rate of speed. All right, here we go.
The 70-year-old demanded to speak with a USAA representative.
Yeah.
But when the guards refused to let him in...
Where is he? I'm on hold with him right now. Tell him to pick up the phone.
Tampa police said Beatty put on a helmet and drove recklessly onto the property.
All right, if I'm going to do reckless driving, I got to protect my melon.
He put on the helmet.
Beatty put on a helmet.
I'm going to put on a helmet.
I got a crash helmet.
Yeah, I got a helmet with one of them pikes on it. USAA. I was peeling potatoes while you were not even in your father's balls. I want my insurance. Give it to me. I'm fed up.
Investigators said he intentionally hit a security vehicle before driving his car into the USAA building.
Now I'm inside. Now you'll deal with me inside.
Genius. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah,
nice move.
I'm inside the building now. I've infiltrated.
How about that?
Now you have to talk to me about what I want to do.
What was his prior record?
Just traffic offenses for driving while licensed, canceled, suspended, or revoked in 2016.
Beatty's defense team asked the judge to set a low bond on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Defense team?
I don't want to spend all this money getting out of jail.
This guy has a defense team?
Yeah, I got a team. I don't want to spend a lot of money on a quarter to get out of jail. I want to get out real cheap on that.
I need to bond out. Do a lawyer up.
I got to take a leak. I don't like pooing in front of all these fellas. I get shy, and then it gets all built up inside of me.
Your Honor, Mr. Beatty has resided here in Hillsborough County for 21 years.
Yeah. since I was 50. I've been to Mons Venus 79 times.
His source of income is Social Security.
Yep. I'm getting that sweet $200 a month.
Bond was ultimately set at $15,000. Investigators have not said what Beatty wanted to speak to a USAA rep about. Beatty is facing felony charges of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, burglary of an occupied structure, and criminal mischief.
Give him the mischief and let him out. He's 70 years old.
Oh, but I'm special.
Yeah, you are.
No,
don't do that.
Don't do that, sir. All right. Well, very good. That's funny. I want to talk to Jose on. That's not what he Jose. And I can't even think of a name. I want to talk to that Indian fella. Where's that Indian fella? What are you wearing? A sweater? I got my helmet on so I don't hurt my melon. I want to talk to you now. I'm going to drive in. Just like I was seeing a picture show at the movies. I'm going to put a speaker in my car and make out.
What?
I'm talking about a drive-in movie show, picture show.
Hold on. I'm going to find him. I'm going to tell him all about it here.
Hey! I hit my head when I rammed into your building.
Beatty put on a helmet.
Yeah, he did.
Good thing I had this helmet. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
My grandson used to use it on his mini bike.
My grandson used to make the biggest ramps. I say, you're going to hurt yourself. And he did. He ain't alive no more.
Oh, Jesus, Joe.
Well, he went off the ramp and went right into a motor vehicle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's terrible.
He was 27. I said to him, you're going to hurt yourself.
But I'm special.
He ended up in the top of a tree.
Huh.
All right. He killed my cat on the account of he got bad thoughts in that head of his. The doctors say he's got bad thoughts, so that's why he was doing all this stuff to the animals. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hart.
were run over in Winnipeg by the Jets last night, 8-1 in the opener of a 5-game road trip. Jeremy Swayman both started and finished this one in net for the Bruins.
You got to stay sharp 60 minutes. They punished us, so it's not acceptable, and we have to move forward. And luckily, we have the group to do it.
Mark Scheifele scored twice for the Jets. Connor Hellebuck added 23 saves in net to snap the Bruins' 4-game winning streak. They play in Seattle tomorrow night. As for the Patriots, they'll be back at practice today. They got a game coming up on the road Sunday in Arizona. Yesterday, the team released wide receiver KJ Osborne. Bill Belichick, meanwhile, has a job offer. The Athletic is reporting that the University of North Carolina has offered the head football coaching job to him, but the two sides are still apart on some key issues associated with the job. Negotiations are continuing. Nothing is close yet. The Red Sox pursuit of free agent pitching took a hit last night. Lefty Max Fried agreed with the Yankees on an 8-year, $218 million contract. Nathan Eovaldi went back to Texas for 3 years and $75 million. And the Celtics play Detroit at TD Garden tomorrow night. At the NBA Cup, quarterfinal play began yesterday evening. Milwaukee beat Orlando 114-109, and Oklahoma City beat Dallas 118-104. Sports Hub headlines are driven by the Albrecht Auto Group's O's Auto Dealer. Get respect at Albrecht with 7 locations and thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles. Get the right vehicle at the right price right now at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Here we go.
Boom.
I win.
Boom.
Yeah.
Hit somebody.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Toucher and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
On the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Chris Forsberg covers the Celtics for NBC Sports Boston. Talking Green with Chris Forsberg is presented by Bentley University, where good business begins and leaders come to learn. Chris joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. You know who I haven't talked to in a while? It reminds me this read is Gorman. The last time I talked to Gorman talks like a 1920s detective, like in a Pulp Fiction novel. I won't read you the text because it's probably a violation. I don't think he'd really care.
It was a great day that day in the office.
But yeah, it's
Molly came in and told me I had an appointment.
It's almost like Robert Evans-esque. Like he's like, do I got big things going on? Sure. Would I love to talk to you? Yeah. Let's grab drink or not drink.
She was easy on the eyes and wore a dress that was captivating.
Yeah, he almost like talks to himself.
And I thought, don't jump too soon.
Yeah.
She swung the soaked limb over her shoulder and waded back towards the beach.
Yeah, don't get it. I heard there's a rumor you might be right in a tomb. That's been taken, Jack. I'm the only rider in town. Yeah. There was a quarterback whose arm was hurt. Been done. Quarterback whose foot fell off. We called him 1 Foot McGee. And this is...
Now Rocky had a cut-off leg to deal with.
He was missing a foot, but he still got laid for some reason. All right, and I don't think he was paying for it. Chris Forsberg. We are now we know who's going to Las Vegas, and if you heard a collection of the calls from last night's games, you would get really annoyed because a lot of saying Viva Las Vegas. They all seem to have gotten a memo. The Knicks, the Bucks, the Hawks, the Rockets, the Thunder, and the... Golden State Warriors.
Quarterfinal round is still in the home court. The winners of last night's game go to Vegas.
Yeah, but the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Hawks are going to Vegas.
No.
That's what Y means, right?
No. No.
I thought Y means that they're going to Vegas.
No.
E means eliminated. What does X mean? So Knicks play Orlando. Again?
No. Orlando played last night against Milwaukee.
Okay, the Knicks are 4-0. Orlando's 3-1. Philadelphia's 2-2. The Nets are 1-3, and Charlotte's 0-4. That means the Knicks are going to Vegas, right?
No, it just means they qualified for the quarterfinals.
Who qualified?
Brett, I've spent months trying to tell people this is easy, and you're not helping my cause.
New York, Orlando, Milwaukee, and Atlanta are going to the quarterfinals.
Correct.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, you don't know? Is smartass? Houston, Oklahoma, Golden State, and Dallas are going to the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Okay, so
correct.
5 teams from each conference go to the quarterfinals.
4 teams.
Or 4 teams, rather, from each conference go to the quarterfinals.
Yes. The quarterfinals started last night.
You're saying yes a lot. Like, I think you 75% know what you're talking about.
I pretty much got it about 90%.
Okay, because
thank God Forsberg's
you're
here to fill in
acting
the
like a
picture.
little condescending, which I would take, but I'm not sure you're positive.
If I'm being
Do
condescending,
you know what I'm
I
saying?
apologize.
Like, he's acting like a know-it-all, but I don't think he knows. Like, normally I'd take it, and I'd be glad you know, but I'm not positive you do.
Milwaukee played Orlando in one quarterfinal matchup last night.
Okay, but so
Dallas
Orlando
played
is
Oklahoma City in another quarterfinal matchup last night.
Right. Orlando.
Those guys are on to Vegas.
Yes.
Yes, Orlando and the Knicks are going, from what I see here. Why means something.
No Knicks yet. Knicks got to beat the Hawks first.
Tonight. The Knicks play Atlanta tonight.
Then, so the Knicks have to play 5 games, and Orlando only has to play 4?
No, I don't know what bracket you're looking at.
I'm not looking. I don't
The
see
Knicks
Orlando
are 4-0 in this contest,
right?
In the NBA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando's 3-1.
Well, they're now 3-2.
Well, according to what I'm looking at, they're 3-1.
That was group play. Now they got bounced last night.
Orlando's out.
Orlando's out. They lost to Milwaukee last night.
Okay,
Yeah.
but so am I looking at something? Is ESPN not updated their stats? This thing
You got to go to the bracket.
Yeah,
Just
it's
go to the
not a
bracket.
standing. We're out of standings. We're into the knockout round. We're into bracket play now.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're into the knockout round.
Quarterfinal play.
Okay, so we're into the bracket.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair enough. So I've been looking at the wrong thing. So I was right, but I was wrong. So the
Correct.
Bucks now are playing. I was right with the teams that got
The Bucks
in, but
will
I did,
play the winner of the Knicks and Hawks.
And that game is tonight.
well, that's
The
exciting.
Knicks and Hawks play tonight, and the Rockets and Warriors play tonight.
And the winner of the Rockets and Warriors will play Oklahoma City,
Yes.
who beat Dallas last night.
Well, I for one am all in.
I know. It's awesome.
See that, Chris? We finally got to the finish line.
The Cup fever, baby. It's like listening to my grandpa explain how this thing goes.
But either one of you could have stepped in at any time and said, "No, Fred, here's what's going on."
We were trying. Fred, to be fair, we were trying.
I gave you a lot of pauses. I wasn't bulldozing anyone.
And to be fair to me, I couldn't step in because I've stated early on I don't care one way or the other. I do not care.
All right. Well,
how did you still not care? Did you watch it all last night?
Zero. I watched a horrible Bruins game instead of watching any basketball last
Should have
night.
watched basketball after that.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't going to watch because no local investment. But I was, when I was home last night, I gravitated towards it. There's a little something extra to it, and they're not quite playoff games, but they have a little extra energy, and I do think it's a chance for some of these other teams that might not even, and like I think Oklahoma City is going to be in the championship mix, but they're kind of sending a message in this tournament. And I thought last night they sent one again against a finalist last year. So like I'm more invested than I thought I would be, but I get it. It's still tough to convince everybody to flip over to these things.
How did the NBA determine the opponents of the teams that didn't make this thing? It just seems kind of random that the Celtics would get like Detroit tomorrow night and the Washington Wizards another evening.
Yeah, I think there's some Instagram algorithm type thing that slots everybody based on, whatever's some of it's proximity, some of it's, record. And I don't know. There's no easy way to do it. It is weird. Like last year, they ended up playing because they made the quarterfinals, ended up playing the Pacers 5 times. More Pistons, more Wizards this year. I think if you're a Celtic fan, you feel pretty lucky with the draw. No disrespect. Like I think Detroit's going to be a tougher matchup, but getting the Wizards again, probably not the worst thing.
That's weird, huh? So your schedule gets easier if you don't make it?
Well, it all depends. Again, it's like it's so random how they draw these teams. And again, I think I don't know the exact algorithm. I do think there's something too. They don't want to make you travel crazy amounts. Like they're not going to send you to a Western Conference team. So there's a good chance you're going to play someone on the East Coast again. And when you think about the options, it's just if 4 teams are going to the quarterfinals, there's only, if I'm doing quick math, 7 teams, 18, it narrows the field of who you can play. And so you're going to end up with this where it's just totally random, and you might see a team for a 5th time each year. And I guess from a team standpoint, you want the sexiest home game possible. And I don't know, maybe the Wizards are probably pumped because that building gets filled up with Celtics fans every time they're down there. So this weekend should be another opportunity for some fun in the nation's capital.
It's weird. It's just housekeeping nonsense to even all the games out, Fred. That's what it is.
Okay. Well, it's very confusing, and
5 years from now, it'll be they'll have ironed out all the.
You think the NBA Cup is going to be around in 5 years?
I do, and they might. I mean, I wonder if they'll start flirting with the idea of moving it later in the year, like once football is cleared, or tweaking it a little bit. But I do think they like the general buzz of what's happening. And again, they got to convince the Hardys of the world to tune in.
There's 24 other teams playing though in the same league. It's very confusing.
One thing I think
other stuff going on. Like I understand there weren't other games last night, but all the other team seasons are still going. It's very confusing.
And it's weird to have essentially we got two different all-star breaks now because the Celtics playing 2 games in 11 days, which is good for them after playing 5 and 7, but it is weird to downshift this much in the season. And I mean, they took Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. Players got 3 days off. You never get that in December, and you're still waiting, till Thursday night to play. So there's benefits to that and everything. But I do think just in general, there's always been there's a lot of games. There's a lot of back-to-backs. Like, how do you space this appropriately? I think the one confusing part that they need to be more cognizant of is the Celtics played the Hawks a week before they played the Hawks in the NBA Cup, and so it was hard. My dog's fired up about that. It was hard for people to sort of balance what what is is this an NBA Cup game? Is this just a random Tuesday night game? They got to be better about maybe there's just you block off 2 weeks and you do it all in that stretch. I don't know. Those are the things they got to iron out.
You just identified problem number one with this thing because they're interspersed with other regular season games, and then no, this one counts, but it double counts for this. No, just block off 2 weeks, have your tournament, and then whether you want to count those games toward the regular season totals or not, fine, whatever. But if you want to have a tournament, do an actual tournament. Just don't every once in a while say, "Well, it's tournament game tonight."
Yeah. The floor. Look at the floor. That's how you know.
The floor tells you, right? I think you're right. I think they have a good idea. It needs to be smoothed out on the edges, and we got to figure out how the best way how do we create the most investment from both the players, the fans, everything, but the regular season needed something like this, and I'm glad they're trying it. They just got to find the right mix here.
If you step aside and hold the tournament, then some teams wind up playing, 84 games. Some teams wind up playing 81. I'm sure the Players Association would step in and say, well, how come we're not compensated more for playing more games?
Well, it's like they're doing that cup in hockey, and they are getting compensated. There's a chance of compensation. And they do it in hockey, like if they break for the Olympics or something, and they do it in basketball when they play in the summer for the Olympics. So I don't want to hear about that. But, you guys are right. They should do the 2-week break because every team plays a little bit during that. And then when they get down to these final, whatever the hell teams it is, they'll be the ones and everyone will have a good time. We've solved the problem. There you go. Get me to the
You're welcome, Adam Silver.
Yeah, get me that weird-looking fella on the phone, and I'll talk to him. All right, Chris Forsberg is still joining us. Perhaps him and Hardy. I wish he was in studio because there can't be that banter to and fro.
I know. The restraining order says I can only visit every couple of weeks or I'm too close to Hardy now. So
the commercial break golf talk is...
Golf and tools. I mean, these two guys. I mean, you had a vest with wires in it on you. I was told after you left yesterday, last week.
I did. The heated vest is clutch at this time of year. You need to get yourself one. Those studios are much too cold.
Yeah, because the idea is that the vest is to keep you warm, but it's only covering your chest.
That's where the heat is, Fred.
Yeah, your core.
But your extremities are the ones that get the coldest.
Same thing last week. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. It's I had to do a lot of research about this. They also make the heated pants, which is great for the golf course, but that just seems a bridge too far for me.
I've got the pants thing figured out.
Double pants?
No, they are the fleece-lined Carhartt pants, and they are a delight. They will hug you like your mother, and they will keep you warm, and they're great against the wind. Everything.
Fred, do you like fleece-lined pants?
I'm just wondering, when is the occasion that you fellas to wear these things?
Well, I've worn the fleece-lined pants in here on cold mornings. I haven't worn them this week because it hasn't been that cold.
But you need special pants to sit in an office job?
getting in and out of the car and the stuff that I do after the show. I just don't make a beeline home for for whatever the hell it is when you do at home.
What do you do after the show?
To go home and make and inject pharmaceuticals. I go do things.
Yeah, what do you do?
Yesterday, you know what I did? You know what I did yesterday? I'd returned the firefighter helmet, pants, suspenders, and the utility belt to my friend.
Well, a lot of time outside.
Why didn't you wear a snowsuit like in the Christmas Story?
And he was on the job, so to speak, doing a big landscaping job with his dad. And the Walshes and I stood outside and talked for a while. I wish I had my fleece-lined pants on yesterday.
So you're telling me you need special pants because you go and return things to people while they're outside?
Well, if I'm talking to workers outside, I want to be dressed like them. Yes.
He lingers. Yeah.
So again, this is a cosplay thing. They're not for a specific need. They're just so you pretend.
Sometimes they are. Rarely, but sometimes it's not.
Forsberg, what are you doing where you need that vest?
So, well, I like to walk outside, and it's cold, so I need to.
It's my guy right here.
I need the warmth.
You go on a good hike, do you?
Yeah,
well, you guys are really pushing the elements.
Living out here in the middle of nowhere, it's not much of a but the Dunkin' Donuts is like a mile away, and if I walk there for my coffee,
well, you guys have really made the case about why you are these things.
Brett, I'm telling you, once you put a pair on, go wander out, put in your headphones.
But believe me, I didn't know walking the dog counted as some crazy activity that required special clothes. I guess I'm part of the team too.
Can we investigate this a little bit more? Because we were talking about it earlier with the people who live down in Rhode Island. I'm not saying you have to, move down to the seaport, but how about meet us halfway? How about Framingham?
Yeah, we'll find out why Forsberg lives so far away. Let's do that coming up. We'll do that in just a moment.
More. morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
You know, Marcus is a family member at this point. So to be able to see him, congratulating him on, him starting his family, etc., stuff off the court, is amazing.
That is the sound of Jaylen Brown talking about his friend coming back to the Garden, Mr. Marcus Smart, as the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Boston Celtics. The last time we saw them, before we got swept into the fever that is the, hey, everyone, let's go to the Middle East and support the tyrannical reign of the sheiks there.
Killing me.
I know you're on the take. Don't worry about it, Forsberg. It's called, what is it called when they do that? When they get, is it whitewashing or what do they call it?
Sport washing?
Sport washing. Interesting. Forsberg's part of the whole master plan. What was it like to have Marcus Smart back, my friend? And how do the players view him on the Celtics?
Yeah, look, I think he had some very close relationships, especially there with Jaylen. They butted heads a lot early and then kind of figured it out in terms of respecting what each other did. And I think, look, there's probably I know for sure there's part of Marcus that it was tough watching from afar to see that same core elevate and win a title. I'm sure there's some, Jason Tatum has said it, that he always thought Marcus would be a teammate. But the league changes, and it's pretty undeniable. The Celtics, look, part of those moves was trading my favorite guy, Robert Williams, and I can't argue that it didn't work out. So I understand it, and I think it was weird because it's been, I think, 530 days since they traded Marcus, and it took forever to get him back on the court. And unfortunately, had a pretty rough shooting night, and the Celtics had an even worse shooting night. So
Marcus hasn't changed a bit.
Yeah,
11 shots in 19 minutes. He was 1 of 11. That sounds right.
Someone said the Celtics shot 30% from 3-point land as a tribute to Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a little harsh, but look, I think Marcus is in a good situation. I think that team is going to be in the mix in the West after a pretty rough year last year. Marcus sounds like he's in a good place. Family wise, just had he's brought his son here and everything. So it is different. It was just weird seeing him in a different uniform, and I know that happens all the time in the NBA, but it just, I don't know, especially from my perspective as someone who covers this team forever. It just, again, Marcus, it was hard to remember a season that Marcus wasn't here. So there's always some emotion that goes into it. I wish he had played better on his trip home here.
One X's and O's thing about that game, though, Chris, they chose to leave Drew Holiday wide open for most of the game, and he did not deliver. He's one of the better corner three-point shooters in the league, I believe, and he missed just about everything he threw up there. Is that something that other teams are going to try carrying forward here?
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen teams do this. The Warriors letting Jaylen shoot, and that blew up on him pretty quick. I think, look, Drew's not shooting the ball well. The number that jumps out, 60% in the corners last year, best in the league, down to 30% right now. I don't know, 24 games here is a pretty good sample. It's fair to say he hasn't shot the ball well. I think he'll shoot it better. It's weird that the night before against Milwaukee was probably his best offensive game of the year, and certainly he had some motivation there. But I'm not something I'm super worried about yet. But certainly it's a copycat league, and teams are going to pick somebody on your team. I do wonder, Al didn't play that game. That's one of your better corner guys. Sam had to leave it with the injury. If you had more options in that spot, maybe they couldn't have dared you quite as much as they did. But give them credit. Teams got to figure out how to roll the dice against the Celtics. And there might be nights where they do that and it totally blows up on them. But in this game, it worked. And I suspect that other teams will try to pick someone and put the pressure on them.
Maybe I'm thinking about this way too simply, but Felger and Maz were talking about this the other day, and I know the Callahan and Felger got into it a little bit on TV the other night. But when it comes to the insistency on the 3-point shooting for the Celtics, and they're taking more threes than anyone else, and they won the championship doing it, and you understand why they're doing it. But I wonder, Chris, and is this already part of the program, or is there some plan to maybe ever do this on the nights when they're not going down, because it seems to be contagious. Nights when guys aren't hitting. It's not just Drew Holiday. It can be multiple guys. Is there any plan to say, okay, now we're going to rope-a-dope this thing. We're going to make them think we're going to continue to shoot the three, but instead we're going to work the ball inside, and we're going to start playing more in the paint, and we're going to start taking some of those mid-range jumpers, because that seems like the obvious solution when you're not hitting from beyond the arc. Will they do that? Have they done it? Is it something that would be under consideration, or do they just continue to shoot threes no matter what?
Well, so two things. One, last year, whenever they didn't shoot the ball well, they were terrible. I think the number was 8 and 12 anytime they were under 33.3%.
Right.
And they didn't always have ways to win games when that shot wasn't falling. So, it was like, for me, it was, would they evolve a little bit this year? Now, before that Memphis game, they were 6-0 when they shot below 33.3%. And I don't think they've done a great job tapping into when those shots aren't falling, knowing like how to get out of it and getting back to maybe a little bit more post ups. Like I think in general, and I'd have to go check this, but I bet the post up numbers are way down. One, because Porzingis wasn't out there for most of the season, but like anecdotally, I don't feel like Tatum's posted up as much as he did at the start of last year. Maybe Jalen a little bit. But yeah, like whether it's posting up or just being more aggressive, driving the ball, which there are nights where they do it, and it's like, man, they can't stop you. Just be relentless going to the rim, and I'd love to see that more when the shot isn't falling. And yet, like, as much as I think everyone bristled that, like, I think the number is 58% of their shots this year are threes, and it's 8% more than the next closest team, which I believe is Charlotte. And it is jarring, but this is how the roster was constructed, and it's proven to be successful.
Yeah.
And until you're not winning championships with it, like there's no reason to get away from it. And I think they've, even more so this year, they've leaned into it, and I don't mind it. They just got to have that balance, as you said. They have to be cognizant on the night where it feels contagious, where just no one can get one to drop, where teams are scheming you so that, it's all on one guy like Drew. They've got to be better at audibling in that moment, or at least just, finding a different way to attack it. And maybe the Grizzlies game had so many different, the end of the 5 and 7, there were a lot of different storylines of why they didn't quite have it that night. But yeah, like I think in general, it is good for them to have different options to beat you. And I think especially with Porzingis back out there, they'll be more apt to lean into that.
Chris, you're there every day and I'm not, so maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it seems like Joe Mazzulla is less tolerant of the beginning of the press conference softball questions than he used to be.
Well, it's funny. I'm watching from afar a lot now when I'm in the studio. I think, was there a specific one you didn't like?
No,
or you think,
like the uniforms, like the new neon uniforms. He just has no tolerance whatsoever for non-basketball, X's and O's talk.
Yeah, but I think we've learned that over the last 2 years. Like that's just that going in that he's not going to want to play ball on those. And sometimes they spawn the best answers. That one that Abby asked about the jersey, like where he says, what do you like best? And he says that it says Celtics on it. It's like fairly hilarious. And but yeah, you're right. Like he doesn't, especially after losses or, if it's another question about the threes, he doesn't want to engage. And I get it. He's like, he doesn't feel like he needs to address that it has sort of been addressed a lot. And you just kind of understand that going in and take your chances if you want to go down that path.
All right. Well, listen, he does not suffer fools. And if I wanted to personally know his take on the uniform and what he thought of it, if he thought it was neat, I mean, that's why they have press conferences.
And my thing is always that, these coaches are paid pretty handsomely to answer 10 minutes of questions. And it is a lot. Maybe I've said this on your show before. Brett Brown once tracked the totality of how much media he had to do over the course of a year. And he was telling Brad Stevens the number. And I remember Brad saying, like, don't even tell me because you just don't want to know. It's like how much you sit in traffic. You're like, just don't even tell me how many hours and days of my life were wasted answering questions about, side pick and rolls and whatever other nonsense that they've got to explain. And so, but the flip side is you make a lot of money. It's people want to hear some of this stuff. And so I appreciate when people are are tolerant of our questions.
Yeah, I actively tune into press conferences after every game. I mean, that's what my favorite thing is. I got to know. I need to know.
Fred, my post-game show, we need the ratings. Please don't deter people from listening to
I go there because I want to
analysis.
see one thing, and that's the analyzing things by the guy in the warm-up vest, because he's got walking to do. And listen, that's why Forsberg's got the warm-up vest, and that's why he's the best on NBC Sports Boston. Chris Forsberg, thank you so much for the time, sir. We appreciate it.
Steve friends.
Okay. What do you say?
See you, friends.
You friends.
Oh, all right. See you later, Chris.
Later, y'all.
Later. Well, there you go. NBA basketball. As
it's fantastic.
Going on.
It's the NBA Emirates Cup. Yep.
It's a long season, ladies and
Cup
gentlemen.
time.
Yep.
John's on top of it, though. John's on top
More
of
than
it.
you. So there. Take that.
I'm not on top of it at all.
I
don't know what's going on. I know that they said Viva Las Vegas in 2 calls of the games last night.
Yes, that's correct.
I know that they go Viva Las Vegas.
So you know Forsberg's upset. He wanted to go. He wanted to go to Vegas bad.
You know, what are you going to do? What is he going to play $5,000 hands of blackjack?
Hardy would have gone, right? Celtics make
Hardy
the Final
lived
Four.
there. Hardy lived there. So there's like a nostalgia to going back. And he was on the radio there like when he was young. That's like when I go back to Atlanta. Like,
right.
I don't think Hardy would like. I'm speaking for him because that's what I do. Is I don't know if Hardy would have that affinity for Vegas if he had not lived there.
Yeah, there's very little about Vegas that I like that I would seek out anywhere else in the world. It's driving around. It's going to the restaurants that I like. It's mostly hanging out with my buddies there who are still there. And yeah, that's 90% of it.
You know who?
I understand that, like the gambling aspect of it. You can gamble in a lot of places.
And also, like, how much can you gamble unless you're like playing boring poker? Well, that's what I'm saying. Without having a problem, how much can you gamble and stay entertained?
If I do have a problem, if I do have a problem, I lean into it during those 3 days in Vegas.
I'm just saying, if you're going to play blackjack all day, you have to have, and you're going to not be at the circus on a $2 table.
Right.
I mean, you got to have a bankroll of like $10,000 or something if you're going to sit there playing blackjack all day. I mean, and that's how you want to spend $10,000 is you want to sit for 20 hours over the course of 3 days at a blackjack table. Some people do. I don't. And you know who's all moving to Vegas now? Like all of them. Hair metal dudes. They're all there. Ricky Rackman, Eddie Trunk. Jakey Lee just got assaulted while walking his dog at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're bringing all those bars back, those Sunset Strip bars, but they're bringing them to Vegas.
So Eddie Trunk does his show from Vegas.
Yes,
every day.
Vegas and New Jersey.
Okay.
He's bi-coastal, if you count Vegas as the West Coast.
Atlantic City, right?
I thought you were off Eddie
Probably.
Trunk. You just can't get away, can you?
I didn't get amnesia at him.
He keeps tabs on him.
No. I don't have amnesia. Like, I listen to it, and I recall the information from when I listened to it.
Okay.
You don't have to be actively listening to know he does his show from Vegas. I could have listened to it 20 years ago and known he does the show in Vegas.
I get my Eddie Trunk news through you. So when you said last week you kind of weren't listening anymore, I was a little disappointed. Now I got to follow. I got to keep tabs.
I can't. Unless he's doing a real good showdown. Like the other day he had, Bark at the Moon or...
the song or the album?
The album, or Shot in the Dark.
Oh, ooh.
So that I'll listen to.
Yeah, that's actually
because that's funny. Because
Yeah.
like dudes call in and like they all sound like your brother's friends.
Yeah,
like your friends' older brothers
who had like those records. Yeah,
yeah, and they were like total like they're like grown up heshers, which is funny. Like they're the Votech kids from high school that like are grown now and they're like still like living the lifestyle. Like they're. At my high school, there was a mural of 70s rock bands on the cafeteria wall, and you know that there was like an over the edge situation where they're like, "Man, you just gotta let us express ourselves and put Zeppelin up there, man." Like there was literally a Hesher altar, an altar to all things like
so Michigan.
ELO, and it's so Michigan,
so Michigan.
So, but I never really, I was too young for that.
Yeah.
So Eddie Trunk is like how I imagine like WRAF guys from like when I was
the 70s and 80s
that were like in high school when I was in elementary school.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so that's why I like it. So that's a big
Might
deep
have to
dive.
steal that segment. Holiday book.
Yeah, it's getting tough, man. When the sun's not coming up, today's a rough one.
Yeah.
I think I'm speaking for everyone
No,
out there in
you're
the
right.
audience.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Today's a rough
sucks.
one. Like, the sun's not coming up, and it's having an effect on me, and I'm not afraid to admit
Heavy
it.
rain all day. Just gross.
We have something to make you smile coming up, Fred.
Yeah, I know. I gave it to you. This is
Right,
the
you
rare
found
one
this,
that
yeah.
No, I didn't find it. The listeners sent it, but it's nice. I appreciate when listeners send things, and we will do what they wanted us to do and talk about it in just a moment.
Sports Hub headline.
I never owned an Ozzy Osbourne. Oh, no, I did. I owned Tribute.
Everyone on Tribute. On cassette.
I owned Tribute on cassette, and I hated myself so much that I called the girl and I told her I had just written a song and I played the Randy Rhoads acoustic thing on it and said it was me. And she obviously did not believe me.
You loved pulling that move. You loved saying you were in the band and that you wrote the song.
I did not have a lot of self-confidence, my friend.
Not many of us did, Fred. It's okay.
Be listening at 8:55 for your chance to score a $100 gift card. I get the douche chills just thinking. It actually makes me sad. Score a $100 gift card to Arcadia Professional Body Piercing, offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant-grade titanium to 14 and 18-karat solid gold with genuine gemstones. Gift cards are a great deal for the holidays and available online at arcadiabodypiercing.com. Here is Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, again, is in a green screen prison. He is on television 12 hours a day. He's on the radio 5 hours a day, and he podcasts the rest of his time. And when you are doing that, you cannot only speak of sports. I will tell you that as even 20 hours a week, it's very difficult. And not something I would want to entertain, just doing sports. But here is our friend Stephen A. Smith.
Sophie Rain made more money on OnlyFans than many of the NBA's biggest stars.
All right, so who is this woman? Does anyone know?
I did not know anything about her until I heard this, and then I investigated.
My thing with OnlyFans is this. You realize there's more porn for free than you could consume in 17 lifetimes. Even if you were an absolute freak of nature in your production, you could run out and still have eons and eons of porn. Why would you pay a woman to see her naked? Have you tried Google and then click images? I believe there would be. And you know what it is probably? It's like the illusion of intimacy. Like that you're talking to them, you're really talking to them. And to that I would say, I would imagine if this woman's making tens of millions of dollars on OnlyFans, that there is some AI incorporated. That's just a guess. That, like, it's not even required to have a staff now to answer the questions. You can just have a computer do it. I can understand paying for porn. I can even understand paying for, like, something, like a prosthetic something. I've never done it, but I can understand it. OnlyFans, I don't understand. It's like paying for a girlfriend you don't get to bang. Why don't you just get a prostitute at that point? You know? Like, why would I pay $20 or $10 a month to talk to a stranger when I could just get a whore?
Well,
I never have done that.
There are people spending a lot more money than that on Sophie Rain. Like
Sophie Rain made more money on OnlyFans than many of the NBA's biggest stars. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this list right here. Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Edwards. Look at the money that they're making. 42 million for Anthony Edwards, right?
Jaylen Brown, you're cool. He doesn't mention Jaylen Brown, so Jaylen Brown makes more than Sophie Rain.
He's over.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, this platform has grown so much that in 2023, OnlyFans content creators earned a total of $6.6 billion.
And that went to 3 people. So every girl that thinks that you're going to, I'll do you a favor, that thinks you're going to make millions of dollars getting naked on OnlyFans. No. Wow. You're not going to make any money. And what's going to happen is those pictures are going to be on the internet forever. And when you look for a job, they're going to find them, and everyone at the office is going to see you naked. That's exactly what's going to happen. For every Sophie Rain, I would imagine there's, 5 million women who haven't made a quarter, but have just put pictures of themselves naked up for no reason.
Which exceeds the total of salaries earned by the entire National Basketball Association.
What psycho perv nerd when you know what, Steven? There are this Sophie Rain has made this amount of money. Let's juxtapose that to the salaries of NBA players, shall we? I was spanking it yesterday, and this thought came to me.
Right, and more to the point, Stephen, what is your point? Other than it's just an excuse to talk about Sophie Rain.
No, let me Google Sophie Rain.
Okay, so she apparently is a devout Christian.
Yeah.
And this does not... This is not in conflict anyway with her beliefs. She says she's thankful and that the Lord is very forgiving.
You know the Lord is very forgiving.
She is a devout Christian.
I mean, she's good looking, but what about her is got everyone so she's good looking for sure.
She's got a big old butt.
Not even that big. She's got a nice butt. She's got a very nice body. She's got a back piece.
You like that? It's got that saddlebag
had,
thing going.
That's not what it looked like earlier. I have a feeling that she has had a little work done. Oh, she's had a lot of work done because they're showing pictures of her when she was a kid.
Come on.
Yeah, she's got it. People love big butts.
Which was at $4.9 billion, according to Basketball Forever. Ms. Raines says she is a devout Christian and a virgin. So Sophie made $43 million and almost $5 million from Charlie. I guess he might be the horniest man in America, huh?
There's one guy named Charlie who has been supporting Sophie from the beginning, and he has spent almost $5 million himself, one account.
I guess he might be the horniest man in America, huh?
What is the restraining order that would be required for someone that was just giving you $5 million just to give it to you? I've had people tell me that this is not uncommon, that there is this thing on the internet for men that just want to give money to women, like for nothing. And to that, I would say, okay. But it seems like
I think
Dave
would assume that would open up some doors for them.
Yeah, it just seems like you're taking that money and you're assuming nothing's going to happen, and then one day it does, and then you're like, oh boy. Like, so he just gives her $5 million just to give it to her, and she doesn't even like say hello. There's no even pretend intimacy. He just gives her $5 million to stay a virgin, and maybe she is a virgin. She'd probably stay a virgin forever. A technical virgin, stay a technical virgin forever. Keep making $30 million a year. Do it for 2 more years, and then
the virgin,
and you'll never need to do it. Yeah, he doesn't really do anything with his voice on that one.
So she claims that she's only purchased a few things. She bought her dream car, 2024 Porsche GT3 RS.
Yeah,
and she rents a beautiful waterfront property in Miami. Toward the end of the year, she hopes to buy her parents their own property. It'll be the first house they're going to own, and I'm really excited. If you've made you made $43 million in a year and you're still renting and you haven't bought your parents a house yet, I question whether you've really made $43 million.
And what percentage because when Fred T. Sales on eBay gets cooking and starts selling Mickey Mantle cards like I just did, eBay takes a fairly good chunk out of that. So I'm wondering how much OnlyFans makes on the back end of that, and why you just wouldn't make your own website. Why would you still go through OnlyFans? Why wouldn't you just make your own website? Look, give me her information. I'll talk to her about putting it in an S&P 500 index, very small, just for Vanguard, very little, and then we'll also talk about moving off that platform OnlyFans, and maybe it's just focusing on this $5 million guy.
Yeah,
maybe getting written into a will and then hoping he dies off. You know.
That's planning for the future.
Absolutely. Car number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985. Will score a $100 gift card for Arcadia Professional Body Piercing, offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant-grade titanium to 14 and 18-karat solid gold with genuine gemstones. Gift cards are great for the holidays and available online at arcadiabodypiercing.com. We'll be right back with Billy Jaffe.
Vezina Trophy winner in net, and things did not go well.
40 seconds to go on the Jets' power play. Morris, he sends one across, a one-timer, they score. It's Scheifele with his second of the game. Another power play goal for Winnipeg, and it's 3-0.
That is Ryan Johnston here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Mark Scheifele scored twice in an 8-1 Jets win. Winnipeg scored 5 third-period goals to blow the game open. David Pastrnak scored the only goal of the game for the Bruins. This road trip continues in Seattle tomorrow night. In baseball news, the winter meetings are continuing in Dallas. The Red Sox officially lost out on the top free agent lefty on the board last night. Max Fried signed an 8-year, $218 million contract with the Yankees. Also, former Sox pitcher Nathan Eovaldi is re-signed with Texas for 3 years and $75 million. And Toronto sent 3 minor leaguers to Cleveland for 3-time Gold Glove second baseman Andres Jimenez. The Patriots will be back at practice today with an eye towards a road game in Arizona on Sunday. The team released wideout KJ Osborne yesterday, and The Athletic is reporting that the University of North Carolina has offered their head football coaching job to Bill Belichick. Negotiations on terms, however, are continuing between the two sides. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Massachusetts Energy Market Association and local retail heating oil companies. They're committed to reducing the impact of climate change with clean, renewable bioheat fuel and energy-efficient heating equipment. Learn more at mybioheat.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
When sports news breaks in Boston.
Officially from the Boston Bruins.
It breaks here.
Boston Bruins general manager Don Sweeney announced today, November 19th, the team has relieved Jim Montgomery of his duties as head coach.
For the latest updates.
Associate coach Joe Sacco will assume interim head coaching duties.
And the analysis.
To me, this isn't enough. I think they got to shake up the locker room.
Stay right here.
We'll see how this goes.
Boston's home for breaking sports news. 98.5 The Sports Hub. You said you wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey! On a day where the sun is never going to rise.
Nasty out there.
It's just not good. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Billy Jaffe is here as he's an Anderson and the host of the Morning Brew podcast, available now for your pleasure. He's in studio. He's a man who wears many hats.
But not one today.
I'm headed 40 miles away to watch a basketball game today.
You are?
2:15.
What time?
2:15.
Leave early.
And I tell you that because
really? Yeah.
It always makes me feel better because I'm going like 30, 40 miles away, and Billy will go, well, I've gone across the world.
Yeah, you're calling from parking lots in Quebec and Finland.
That was a fun one, the parking lot in Quebec City.
That was good. Yeah, my boy, he only has 3 games today. Sorry.
There is this belief that, especially hockey, that like the games, you better get them games in.
No, there's actually too many games. It is. Well, let's not even go on this tangent because it's way too many for these kids. And all kidding aside, we've pulled back our team over the years, but still, it's nuts how many games some of these kids play. It ruins them. Doesn't develop them. Well, good luck to Milo for his game today. Is he as good at basketball as he is at baseball?
He doesn't. I mean, he's at a point where he can't play it enough. Like he's a big kid and he's athletic, but he's not. Like, he hasn't focused on it.
Gotcha.
So he just enjoys playing it.
Good. All right.
But it's more fun to watch. Basketball is more fun to watch than baseball, unless he's pitching, because there can be a lot of time. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of time in between your boy.
Yeah.
And I have no interest in anyone else, so it's a lot of staring at my phone. Basketball,
I do think that most parents would agree with you when it's all said and done.
Yeah. Last year he went to a different school, and their basketball team was really good, and they had like this really cool environment around it. And there was 2 kids. There's one kid that's playing in college now, and another one that will definitely play in college. And that was fun. And he never played. He would play. He was like the 9th man. He was a freshman, but he was like the 9th man. And maybe 10th, and he would get in, and that would be fun. But I actually started to care, and they won their league, and so and they all celebrated, and I was like, oh, that's nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it rubbed off on me. Well, Billy, if I was the father of Jeremy Swayman, I would be scolding him right now for his giving up 8 goals in a 8-1 loss against the Winnipeg franchise.
I'd be scolding the whole team.
Yeah, well, I'm just had to pick a player because I would not have fathered.
I could pick everyone. Go ahead.
Yeah. So okay,
but they were in it. They were in it 3-1.
Yeah.
Somehow, somewhat. Like when I say in it, meaning I'm pumping brakes here, but you're like, okay, hasn't been great, but you made it 3-1, and Pasta finally gets the one-timer goal that we have been waiting for all year.
Oh my God!
And right
the one that you just expected him to score every single game. When he scored it last night, I'm like, oh, I remember that.
I was surprised it went in.
It was a heavy shot, and it went off DeMello's stick, the defenseman, and it rocketed upstairs past Hellebuyck. But he had previously missed the two previous shots from the net, and you're like, oh no. Anyways, he scores, so it's 3-1, and you're like, all right, listen, it hasn't been the worst. But because they had chances, I heard you guys at 6:15 this morning when I was driving to skate. I heard you talked about there you
P1.
go. I'm a listener.
Yeah, baby.
About they had opportunities. Marchand had a great chance there.
What did you think of our breakdown? Just us.
I thought the one 2 weeks ago was better.
It.
Better. This one, you've kind of mailed it in, you guys, on this one. I kind of felt.
Well, on last night's game,
a little.
None of us saw the third period. So.
That was a problem.
But 2 weeks ago, you guys,
Billy, if given the option,
driving in, and
if given the option, would you have turned the TV off after the second period?
I would have, if
you were just a fan and not being paid to be
I would have hockey surfed. I would have kept coming back to it.
Yeah.
But I would have watched. This is my point. I would have watched early on the third. But that fourth goal was the killer. That fourth goal a minute into the third period was the killer. Because you have this, you're like, okay, it hasn't been awful. You had some chances. Yes, Winnipeg's been better. We get that. But go out and have a good 20. Maybe you lose by 1 or you lose by 2 with an empty netter, but go out and have a good period. Like there's a quote-unquote chance.
They did against Philadelphia.
And then that fourth goal was like, oh, come on. It was, what exactly was it in? It was Kyle Connor's goals. And 1:15. 1:15 into the third, and you're like, game.
That's it. Yeah,
over.
That's it.
And you could feel it. You could see it.
Well, I'm not giving him excuses either, but Hellebuyck is so big. And he's actually, like in street clothes, he's probably not that wide because I looked him up after the game.
No,
I think he's 6'4", like 207.
Yeah, he's not huge.
Okay, so that's
No.
a proportionate 6'4", but he's just massive in
and
that
he's
goal.
positionally sound. He is very...
He doesn't move.
He calls his style boring. It's not the old days of butterfly shot blocker that does nothing, but yet it's not far from it. He doesn't have nearly as much athleticism as we've started to see come back into the game. Now, you're not seeing goalies flop around a la, Tim Thomas, for instance, who was so acrobatic and so good when he was on. But these big goalies are much more square and everything. But Hellebuyck last year, I heard you guys talk about Vezina winner last year, dead on, leading candidate right now this year for the Vezina as well. That save on Marchand was excellent because he made it look simple. And does that get into the head of the opponent a little bit? Maybe of the shooter. Like, we're going to maybe have a hard time beating this guy. He did. It sounds cliche, but he did his job in this game. He made those saves. I heard you talking earlier about goals that Swayman talked post game, talked about wanting to have a couple back. Forget the Appleton goal. That was, whatever. Of course that shouldn't go in. There was probably, I'd look at 2 or 3 in the game that you'd be like, okay, he knows. Besides the Appleton one, maybe 2 more that he could get to. But in general, guys, and we did little bits of breakdowns here and there. We did a pregame breakdown on this. Winnipeg is one of the better teams of bringing the puck into the slot, bringing it middle ice. And the Bruins, we said we have to see them defend better, even than they did against Philly, which they came back against. First 2 periods, they were giving up chances in the middle, and they didn't. And their gaps were bad. And that's not just on the D; that's also on the forecheck, on the back checkers, backtracking back. It was bad, and you saw the major gaps. And so you can't. Yeah, you got to barf this one out. On the other hand, though, there's some significant things that need to be adjusted before they hit the ice in Seattle tomorrow night.
One quick thing. You were talking about goaltenders. Why was Jeremy Swayman left out there?
This is my guess. Just my guess.
It was what, 6-1 about 7 minutes into the third period?
Well,
they could have sat him down there.
Well, but this is my guess only. No. My guess is the schedule to begin this trip, which is a 5-game trip, obviously Winnipeg, then Seattle, then Saturday in Vancouver. My guess, the schedule, almost no matter what, was Swayman, Korpisalo, Swayman. Mm-hmm. And after that, depending on what happens, probably Swayman, because you have 2 days off in between the game from Van and Calgary, and then you got another day off you go to Edmonton, and you're like, all right, you're going to put your number 1 in there. That's my guess, John. So they're like, all right, It's 6-1 now. He's going to have to take this one for the team. And that's his third game this year, giving up, 7 or 8 goals. That was the first time he's given up 8 goals. I think he's done 7, I know, against, Carolina and Dallas.
Yeah, there was the game where everyone was on Montgomery for not taking him out.
Yeah, it's my guess, John, that they didn't take him out because that's the schedule, and, you're going to save Korpisalo now for Seattle. And Swayman's your number 1 with the big ticket, and you're like, all right, hey, you're going to have to take this one for us.
That was my thought, too, but they're not playing back-to-backs. I mean, they got until Thursday night, right?
They are. I don't think Joe Osako was asked it after the game. So, again, this is my take. That's why. That they're like, all right, listen, the whole team has been bad. He hasn't been sharp. But again, those first few goals were middle of the ice goals. Like,
okay,
holy crap!
So let's talk about that, because I saw a regression back to what they had been doing before Sacco took over, which was a lot of watching of the puck.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
You did one of the breakdowns, and you were using terminology that I was a little unfamiliar with when you were. You got to dumb it down for me a little bit, Billy.
What, backtrack, gaps? What? Tell me.
I don't know, something about the spacing in front of Swayman at one point. But to me, just in layman's terms, you've got at least 2 defenders back, right?
Yeah.
You've got enough there, and at that point, you would expect at least one of them to be playing the man or playing the puck.
Well, right.
Instead, what they were doing is they were both watching
to
where the puck was going to go. So they're not playing a man, and neither
that
one.
That was Lowry and Peak, I believe, the one that you're talking about, right?
Neither one are playing the man.
So Lowry
and
that,
puck.
when the play comes, it's hard to explain here in the short amount of time. Lowry's got to step up because there was back pressure from Pasternak. He's got to slide into that. He's got to step into and slide and take away that space. From I don't think it was Scheifele. Forgive me for not remembering. I was only working a couple hours sleep. Regardless, it was coming back too much, and then they were waiting. And then by the time they start to go forward again towards the gap, towards the close, next thing you know, everybody's on one side, and
play
and
is
then
developed
Scheifele's
to the point
on
where
the
you
other
can't
side.
save it.
Yeah. It was. Again, Scheifele had 2 from the slot. Connor had 1 from there. The Velarde goal, which came down the right side, absolutely Swayman would like that back. The Appleton one.
So is that a function of what Winnipeg is doing in the middle of the ice and in the neutral zone to set that up, or is it just poor play? Because when you see guys still backing up that close to Swayman. At some point, it's like, guys, you got to make a play here. You can't.
The wires were not. The synapses weren't firing defensively for both in the neutral zone and in the D zone. And
was that anomalous to last night, or have you seen?
No, they've had that earlier in the season. They did before Sacco. No, it's been better under Joe. It's been better. However, again, I go back to that Philly game. We showed there were a couple of chances from middle ice, which was more almost from the half wall to the net. This was more off the rush. I would say Winnipeg is a bigger team that doesn't always love to do stuff off the rush, but what they love to do is use the wall and their size, get pucks, and then flush it to the front. And so they did a good job there, and the Bruins didn't. And so that's what we're going to find out tomorrow night, fellas, is if it was an anomaly or if it wasn't.
How come those boards are so hot?
I don't know. They are heavy. They're like the old Joe Louis Arena. Those were so hot. I mean, it was like a Super Bowl coming off the end.
Yeah, Probert used to do rails off them. Now, what do you got there? What are you wearing? What's behind you on that chair? You got
a vest.
Yeah. What is that? What's the situation with that thing?
I was a gift last year. The year.
Who gave
one
it?
of those? My wife.
Lady?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Victoria. Your wife? Yeah. So it's not a gift so much as just
it's one of those heated
funds.
Vests that you guys are. I didn't realize.
Is nice. Do you have the battery pack in it right now?
No, I don't. I only put the battery pack in when it's really cold. And truthfully, I don't know where it is right now. I think Victoria knows where everything is. I know where nothing is in the house.
Did you do you wear that do you use it at the rink?
Yes, during the throes of winter. Yes, I will put that on, especially certain rinks. Anybody that is involved in youth hockey, young player hockey, understands that there are certain rinks that are more frigid than others. And so so if I know it's going to be a real cold rink, and I can remember and find the battery and have it charged, put it in, and it works well.
Have you ever been in a game where the parents fought? Because that seems like a big thing with hockey, and I can kind of get it.
Fought, no, but argued, yes.
Okay, because is that because it's a physical game in that they're like they see their kids?
No, it's because parents are ludicrous.
Because there's not like parents fighting at baseball games generally. Is it? I'm just wondering if it's a.
You did this to my kid, or they.
Yes, that's it. Because
you did this to my kid, or every once in a while you get the parent who loses it. We've never. I say this. We've never had this from a parent inside the rink.
Right.
Where, they'll come at the coach of the same team because, their kid didn't play enough or something like that, or they didn't like the way that you did. But thankfully, I've never seen from my team or parents or anything like that happen. But I have had once or twice in 7 years the argument from somebody else on the other team.
So my daughter plays sports too, but my son especially. And in all the years and the days and if you added up months of being at games and stuff, the sport where there was the most, there was only one thing in basketball. The sport where there was the most was flag football. Flag football. The parents were insane.
Really,
and it was the lowest stakes. It's a made up game.
Right.
It's like not real.
There's a pro league.
Yeah, right. It's gonna be in the
You can make
Olympics.
money.
Hooray! Yeah. You can make a lot of money. You and the pickleball guys.
Right.
And the parents would and the coaches were insane.
Really.
They were pretending to be real coaches from the 50s.
Did they have the pads, like the pads like Harbaugh stuffed into their pants?
Well, yes.
And then they would put it up in front of their mouth. And did they bring fake ear things so they could pretend that they were talking to somebody in a fake booth?
They wear polyester ball hugger shorts in the fashion
bike shorts.
Yeah. They all thought they were Woody Hayes. They're screaming and yelling, and it's like, you realize this, you can't touch each other. Like, this is not anything of any consequence, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen.
All right, so Bruins tomorrow night. Let's see if they rebound.
Yeah.
Please.
Absolutely.
And then Saturday in Vegas, in Vancouver.
Yeah, Nesson doesn't need these tune-out games. They need the three of us completely engaged for the whole show.
I'll call you guys. Actually, no, I won't call you guys because I know you're all going to be sleeping because the next two games start at 10:15. Well, one's at 10:10 and one's at 10:15.
No, I'm not going to watch it.
I don't think so.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'll call you guys and tell you what happened.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's good, could you call it 6:20 for the what happened last night?
Oh, it'd be perfect.
Sadly, I'm probably going to be up because I sleep like garbage.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how you can't sleep with all.
Well, I'm going to go.
I know nothing
back.
about that.
Got my exercise in, going back home, and maybe take a nap.
Your core is too warm. That's the problem. You're not wearing that thing to bed, are you?
I should.
Get outside and get some vitamin D.
All right.
See you guys. I mean, now's the time.
See you, Billy.
Great. Live in Lower Uncton.
Am I going to see you guys next week, by the way?
No.
You're going to see me.
I'm gone.
You're going to see me and Hardy.
Okay.
John's going to start longingly looking out the window soon.
When do you leave?
I leave on Christmas Day, but my vacation begins Wednesday of next week.
Oh, boy. You just ruined everything for yourself. I was giving you credit.
Adam, I'll decide if I'm coming.
Well, I can only afford so much, so 5 days is enough.
Why?
What are you doing for a week before you go on vacation?
I don't know. Sleeping, probably.
Well, I'm not. Maybe I just won't go to sleep the night before, and I'll just come in and sit with you guys from 6 o'clock on Wednesday.
Perfect.
I'm
sure they'd love that.
That would be fantastic.
We would love it.
I mean, we'll be cooking because we won't have that weight around us in that third chair.
See you later.
All right, take it easy. All right, we'll be back with the award-winning email segment of ours.
bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, everybody. We're the Toucher and Hardy Show. How are you? We're having fun. We're having a good time. If you want to get in touch with us, simply go to 985thesportshub.com. You can find out how to email us, and we read those on the air, and Hardy responds to all of them. He's very good about it. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We have an whole operation with young Nicholas at Toucher and Hardy. If you write something nice about it, we'll retweet it immediately. And that builds a base, so when people come, they know that we're very popular. And then you can follow me at Fred Toucher. And every time I do this, I pick up about half dozen followers in the pursuit of Kendra in the riches that will come when I reach the 28,000 follower mark.
Untold riches.
She's closer to 30 now, I think.
She's on her game, my friend, and she gets a lot of followers. But, I mean, all I can do is try. And pump out content. Maybe I'll broadcast live from my son's game today. I'll get all those kids all.
Oh, nice.
Fred needs a viral moment. You need a viral moment.
Oh, yeah. I'll just take Ambien and get drunk. be a millimeter away from exposing my penis to the world.
That was pretty good.
Legendary.
That really was.
Listen, I'm still here.
You are.
You survived it, man.
By the skin of your something.
Yeah, by the flap of my underwear.
I can close my eyes and see that image of you right now.
I woke up the next morning and I remember
St.
doing
Louis
it, and I
Cardinals
was like, what am I going to do? I'm like, I'm going to go in and just lean into this
You
thing.
did. You owned it the next morning.
And we were on
It's
TV,
true.
and I did the show with my shirt off.
Yep.
I just said, this is going to be...
And you wonder why you're not on TV anymore.
Oh, that was a viral moment. We're not on TV anymore
great.
because I was convinced, allowed myself to be convinced that it was bad for us. Go ahead.
We have an email from DK, and I guess we were talking about you selling your baseball cards at some point. Was
Yeah,
it this
Fred T.
morning?
Sales.
Tell Fred he needs to sell his cards on Instagram or Facebook, not eBay or consign.
Yeah, because eBay takes a chunk of it. I sold one of my Mickey Mantles, and they're taking a pretty good chunk of change. Now I got to go to the post office, but I got to go to this game. It said I had to get them out by today. And I said, by what standard, eBay? I just sold them on Friday.
Yeah, but eBay has protections. It's almost worth paying the chunk for, because if you sell them on those other places that whatever the emailer says, you're not guaranteed the person's legit.
I could be like my ex-wife and sell bat bags for $10. Just see who comes by.
Yeah, people stopping by the house.
Facebook Marketplace. She was selling everything.
I bought a high chair once from somebody in Weston, and I don't know if I've ever had more contempt for a person, because the reason why we were buying this particular high chair is because it looked nice and it was cool, but they were expensive. Literally could not afford or justify the cost of a brand new one. So I said, oh, here's one on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And when we picked it up, you should have seen this house. I mean, it was obscene. The size, the grandeur. I mean, it was done right, every inch of it. And I'm standing there with my Ford Escape parked in the driveway, handing over cash that I really didn't have to spend, but wanted to do something nice for both, my wife and kid by getting this particular high chair. And this woman stood there and took my money. And at some point I thought, you can obviously afford to just give this to me. And I'm forking over like 20 after 20. It's not like I came with a couple of hundreds. Yeah. And it was like $220 still for this high chair, because it was, the specific one that I had to have. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you still allowing me to hand you $20 bill
because
after $20
it keeps her away
bill?
from that morning class of Pinot Grigio.
Maybe.
I mean, that's someone just watching the time go
Empty
by.
Inside.
Brian says, not if Bill takes this UNC job, and I do think this is true, not only does Bill's son get to coach in waiting, but Jordan gets to take over the elite with a shoulder shrug UNC cheer program immediately.
Oh yeah.
Would you be surprised if it didn't? No. Honestly, like without like joking around, would you be surprised? Like you would be like, holy cow, if you found out that in the 400-page manifesto that Bill Belichick gave UNC, that there's something about his girlfriend being in the cheerleading program.
I would be surprised if it were in the manifesto, but I would not be surprised to find out that it was part of the deal and that she ended up doing something there. But to put it in writing,
Yeah,
That's
different altogether.
I would be surprised.
You know who wouldn't like her? The cheerleaders on the UNC cheer squad. Because I imagine they're quite fond of the woman or man who's in charge now.
Yeah.
And so if she just comes in and they fire him, or the woman or the man who's coaching the team.
She's GM of cheerleading.
I would imagine that she's not going to be the most loved person, which I don't think that would put her in those people in rare company.
Frequent emailer and contributor Zach says, "Hey fellas, today's a horrible day for weather vibes and wanting to not feel thinky pain. While the day continues persistent this way, I'm thinking of a free watch of The Lost Highway and listening to Nine Inch Nails' Pretty Hate Machine. But having said that, what albums do you guys like to listen to when the world is dark and spooky? What's your Eternal Darkness album?"
Do you guys like listen? Well, Adam does, obviously. Shut up. Do you guys like find yourself listening to less and less music as you age?
Yes, I do.
And there is like something they think to that, in that that the way your brain is and you're processing emotions when you're a kid makes it that you'll never like music as much as you did, particularly music, like the earnestness and the emotion of music. It will never resonate with you as much as it did when you were a kid.
Yeah, and I accepted this fact a long time ago. It's not that the music today is so much worse than the stuff that we listen to. It's just that we don't care about it as much.
Well, I would say the Circle Jerks first album came out when I was 5 or 6. If I was 35 years old or 40 years old in 1981 and someone put the Circle Jerks on me and said, by the way, they're going to still be touring in 2024 and be playing like around the world, I'd be like, this is nonsense. This is complete garbage. So when I played Czarface, because my kids like MF Doom a lot, when I played the new Czarface record for him, because he's done collabs with MF Doom, my son actually asked me, is he the last guy who raps like this?
Talking about Esoteric?
Yeah, Esoteric. Yeah. He's like, because rap has changed so much that my son, to him, that's like rockabilly or something to him. Like the way that Esoteric actually puts thought into his lyrics and rhymes in different cadences.
You can understand what he's saying.
Well, but also that he changes up flow and stuff like that doesn't really happen, which is why it's odd that Kendrick Lamar is such a hit, because Kendrick Lamar is been around for a long time and he's a technical rapper, so it's very strange to me.
Here's another one. We talked about the misophonia claimed to be suffered by my wife. The condition where you can't stand annoying noises and things like people chewing annoy you, or certain sounds you just can't take it. Just can't take. Just literally driving her crazy. Big tough Bruins luchador. No, I'm a luchador. I'll put in a fence. I never dig a post using anything other than my hands.
You have seen him at work, correct?
I've seen him measuring stuff.
Okay.
Hey, he's a big tough guy, right?
Yeah, he wanted to know before he rented Hardy what he was getting.
Misophonia is real, is the subject line from Luchador. I've made my girlfriend spit out gum when she was chewing. I either eat first or last at big family meals so I don't have to hear people chew. I've yelled at strangers' children for making annoying noises. I never wanted kids because of how much noise they make. I could name 100 other things, but I'll spare you. But I wish I could explain the anger and rage that builds inside me when I hear annoying noises.
Do you think he wishes he was deaf? In all seriousness, like he would rather the absence of sound than have to go through with that? By the way, if I find a woman with a calm voice chewing gum on the internet, that can give me ASMR.
Does that knock you out? Really?
It doesn't put me to sleep.
Gives you the tingles there?
Yep.
Interesting.
It can give me tingles. I am so on the other side of the fence. If you give me even a man, if I can't see his face chewing gum and talking in a calming voice, I'll take that every day of the week. Mike, go ahead.
Hi, Fred. I'm sorry I'm not chewing gum at the present moment,
That's
but
okay.
maybe next time I'll be prepared. Yeah. So, Fred, yesterday you mentioned your ex-mother-in-law, putting cookies on the table and demanding respect and admiration for the move of cookies on the table at your wedding. I used to work in hotels, and you know those welcome bags you get in your room with like a bottle of water and a bag of Doritos and some Advil because everyone's going to get zany or some Advil. So mothers of the bride put those together. And holy shnikes, do they make a big deal about getting them to the room. Like, you would think that no one would know what to do if they didn't get their bag of Doritos.
If they were thirsty or had a headache.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. We would wait until the people actually checked in to put them in the room and then be like, why don't they have their bag yet? They need to have their bag. They're, like, literally sitting by the concierge desk like they're with the wedding party. Give them back. Give them the bag. Give them, and you're like, stop it with the bags.
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous thing ever. It's literally to give mothers of the bride something you do at a wedding.
Yeah, and they feel like they need to get credit for things, and it's funny. Like, yeah, you're like in Back Bay, and like, what am I going to do without that water bottle? How would I ever hydrate myself?
Is it
if I could go down to the lobby or walk outside to any of the numerous bodegas?
And is it the mother of the bride or the mother of the groom? Because I feel like the mother of the groom is the one that may be really looking for something to do to keep themselves busy. But it's probably both.
Well, mine was the mother of the bride because I thanked my parents and the woman I was marrying's father. And because I was in the process of like thanking people, I'd not written anything out. And she then either stood up and said something or grabbed the mic. She might have just stood up and said something.
Just stick with grab the mic. That's better.
And announced that she had cookies and then was furious the entire reception that I hadn't, or no, it was the end of the reception. She was furious like for whatever length of time after that. She threw an engagement party for us in Cherry Hill, and that's the one where I got there, and she's like, put together this tent, and it was like this 10-yard by 5-yard behemoth thing, and she's like, put it together. It's your party. And then people thought I was the bartender at the party.
Oh my God.
And then they wanted wine, so me and one of Stephanie's friends went out to get wine.
You the bartender?
Yeah.
Like Bugs Bunny guarding the carrot patch. Yeah, forget about it.
Well, I did get wasted.
Yeah,
I did get drunk. Believe me, I did.
You never chose
you
that
too,
but boy.
And so we went out. I didn't drive. We went out and got wine and brought it back, and she was BS that we went and got wine because she thought it would stain the carpet.
Oh my God.
Do you blame her?
No.
Okay.
She had mesothelioma, whatever the thing is that you have with not mesothelioma. That's an actual disease. She had whatever condition it is that you can't stand stained rugs.
Mrs. Stania.
Mrs. Stania, right? Mrs. Stania.
Timma wants to know.
I buy her goodies on eBay.
Timma wants to know, how was your first pickleball lesson? What was the age disparity between the youngest and oldest person in the class? And how do you balance your gruff Carhartt working man image with that of a pickleballer? I do not find them to be in any type of conflict. I think it's fine. The pickleball accepts all. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, it is really, it's a Benetton ad. It really is.
It truly is. And not a huge age disparity. I'll say 15 years. There's only 3 of us. So, and the class was designed that way, so the instructor and one student could play against me and the other student, and the guy and I are about the same age, and there's a woman there probably 10 years older than us.
Okay, so I want you guys at one point, while they're still alive, to come to Tellico Village and see my father, and have my father take you to the various things, but it won't be a guided tour. Like, you're just asked to go to like a building. And he'll show you the pickleball courts that they built.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you thought the Sears Tower was something, or the pyramids.
Is there a chance that aliens built them, like the Chrysler building? I mean,
my dad was invited on Rogan, and he declined. But, I mean, he's like, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, right.
And I'll be like, what? And he'll be like, Jesus Christ, Freddie, the pickleball thing.
Right.
It's indoor, outdoor. And I'll be like, yeah. Excuse me. Huh? It's very active, Freddie. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Not now, but usually that thing's packed. Okay, Dad. If there's no one in it, and then I'll make the mistake. There's no one in it now. Jesus Christ, Freddie. It's 5 o'clock. Everyone's eating dinner. I bet you anything the place was packed 2 hours ago. Jesus, Freddie.
At what point in the trip does the tour take place? Because I imagine early on in the trip, you might give him like a courtesy. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. And might even ask one question. But if it's even the second day, then it's not happening.
Well, it's funny because like I'm going to the gym. Like when I was there, I didn't have my kids.
I thought you were going to say, I'll say, I'm going to be nice this time.
No.
Because I've had that conversation.
I think that every time. And so I'm like, I don't, they're old. I'm not going to argue with them. But there is that vibe of, I told you that, like stranglehold of tension. I love them both dearly, but there is that tension. And so like I said, I'm going to go to the gym, and he's like, okay, I'm going to come. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Because now we're walking into something that he belongs to. And now there's going to be like how'd you like the gym, huh? Like, that's a good gym. That's a real gym. And in reality, it's not. It's a crappy gym. It's not terrible. But I mean, like Lifetime in Chestnut Hill might be the greatest gym I've ever been in. And Lord knows everyone belongs to it. It's the most crowded gym as well.
Yeah, the one out in Framingham is crowded as well.
Yeah, they could stand to build a couple more.
Yep.
So, all right, there you go. All right, when we come back, we will finish things up with a stack, and then we'll go back to bed, as it is midnight. If the sun has chosen not to rise today, and if it's not bothering you, God bless you, you're an alien. We'll be back. If we want to find out who the alien is, see who's not depressed.
See who smiles today.
Exactly, that's it. I mean, I feel like I haven't woken up. I really feel like I haven't woken up. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins got run over in
Stack my face. It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. The Stack is brought to you by D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches, freshly grilled, freakishly good. The D'Angelo Classic Steak and Cheese, savory steak, and melty American cheese piled high on golden brown bread. Devour one today. What's going on?
Fred, we've often lamented driving around downtown Boston is very difficult because the streets are winding. They're not laid out in a grid pattern like many other cities are. And that is because the story goes that the streets in downtown Boston and even the surrounding areas are what? They are paths for what? Do you know what?
Horse-drawn carriages?
Yeah, cow paths is what has always been said. Boston.com says, yeah, maybe not so much. They've gone into detail. They've talked to an historian, and they said, all right, 100% certain, not sure. But, yeah, there was a lot of agriculture, and the way the animals moved around and the way they just wanted to walk around the streets probably had a lot to do with it. But it has as much to do with that as the natural settling features, the fresh water reservoirs and aqueducts. So it's not just cow paths. Feel free to keep telling that story to your children, but it has a lot more to do with where the water was and how you had to navigate around the water.
They just found some building that they didn't know existed, like underground. And apparently in it lies the Stoic teachings. You know, everyone's into Stoicism now. The Stoic teachings of philosophers that they think that they can, like, X-ray through the building and, like, scan the writing. Like, they can get the books. Those are from, like, 2,500 years ago. And they're going to read information that was written by the hand of philosophers 2,500 years ago. And they can't tell you why the roads in Boston that was formed in the 1700s started. What morons are the historians around here? Like, there's no idiots. Seriously, like, they're gonna find out what some, like, dude that lived 2,500 years ago was writing about his existence on Earth. Because it's fascinating.
Well, you just said it. They wrote it down. Nobody wrote down why they built the street in this way. It wasn't written down.
So no one who goes, oh, hey, there's a new continent that we're on. Maybe we should keep track of what's doing. Instead of just making up stories.
Well, you keep track of everything that you do? You write stuff down?
I journal, baby. I journal. Yeah, when I'm gone, you're going to know everything. You're going to know just how I feel about you.
Has Bill Belichick heard that philosopher story? It might be of interest to him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I bet you they do talk about that. Yeah. I know all about it because I listened to a podcast halfway while I was on the treadmill.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like,
so now I know all about it.
No. But what I'm saying is I don't know the facts about it, but it is true. They have found it, and it's fascinating. They found, like, who knew that you would keep finding things that were written down that long ago. The point stands, though, is that, like, they invented the camera, like, what, 100 years after people came here? Like, let's get it together. Or, like, the white man came. Let's get it together a little bit. Write some things down.
It's more than that. Like cameras.
Cameras in the Civil War?
Yeah, but people have been in Boston since the 1600s. I mean,
yeah, but the roads weren't developed until, I would guess, well after that, right?
Yeah. I would bet that's true.
You know what would be fun is if we just took this conversation off the air and had lunch and discussed our feelings on why this all wasn't written down.
Adam, are you going to go to the new Great Scott? Are you excited about the new Great Scott that's opening up? All right,
Yes.
it's a mixed-use space, so it's going to be a music venue, performance spaces, housing, neighborhood, retail, food, and beverage
Glory
space.
hole vendor.
It's the first time I've been excited about a mixed-use space maybe ever.
What excites you about it?
That's good. That it's the way you've got the story there in front of you. The way that it's going to be built out, I think some of the housing in there is going to be affordable housing, and they're going to be able to have a good anchor in the Alston Brighton neighborhood there.
Yeah,
a mid-rise structure of about 105 feet.
There's a mixed-use space at the Unitarian Church in Woburn that Adam takes advantage of.
A little coffee house in the basement. It's
There's
nice.
a coffee house,
Play a little,
Sunday school,
There you
AA meetings.
Yeah.
It's mixed use.
Yeah, there's a Unitarian church in Woburn that Adam takes advantage of. He knows about. He's being modest about
Shouldn't
his.
say mixed-use space. You said mixed-use building. But anyway.
There's going to be affordable housing in it.
Yes, that's why.
There's going to be an empty
think.
chair here tomorrow, but there's going to be taking an extra day off. Ray Gun the musical. Do you know who Ray Gun is?
Yeah, the naked Reagans.
No.
No, it's the it's
Australian
break
dancer.
dancer. Yeah.
Oh, the one that was not good.
The musical not happening. It was shut down hours before it was supposed to open on Saturday after lawyers representing Ray Gun threatened legal action.
Do you know what's funny about that to me is that went viral that she was bad at something that there's no rules. Like how would you know? Like what if that's breakdancing? No one's breakdanced since 1982. What are you? Everyone's a big expert on it.
This sounds a lot like your theories on drummers. How do you know if there's a good drummer or a bad drummer? You just
No. That's not. You're really oversimplifying a very, very, very good point by me.
You can't tell a good break dancer from a bad break dancer.
It's art. It's an art that like 4 people do, in that it's so esoteric. Like I just like that. That's worse than anything else. I don't like any break dancing.
You used to be a break dancer.
I used to say I was a break dancer.
You gotta find that
so many
video when
things
you
in
go
life.
Were you good?
We need to see that.
I have it.
Were you a good break dancer?
If you want to go through 15 DVDs, you can.
Answer my question. Were you a good break dancer?
No.
How do you know?
Because
it was art.
Because it was me, and I was trying to mimic moves. I was trying to mimic moves.
Owned.
I did a lot of footwork.
Pwned.
Okay.
Pow
You should
and
have seen
own together is pound.
the guy at Olga's. You should have seen the way he just was glaring at us like, you pieces of garbage.
I love their cream of broccoli soup.
Only 10,000 calories a cup. What is Olga's soup? We just melt down cheddar cheese and put some heavy cream in it.
Bingo.
And there you go. All right, everyone, get outside, get some sun. That'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. Bye.